Guys, we are live and we are finally back. Company of Gamers is back. I can't tell you guys how happy this makes me. It's been too long, you know.
Way too long.
Way too long. How are we all? How is the audio? How are we sounding? No technical issues thus far, guys. It's a freaking miracle, and let me tell you, I'm so freaking grateful to all of you who have been so patient, waiting for the 9th episode of Company of Gamers and dealing with the absolute catastrophic technical BS that took place with the 8th episode. Like, took me half an hour to get the stream actually rolling. For those who don't know, I had a really bad virus on my PC that basically caused system failure just across everything. Hard drive related, CPU, everything was just bugging out. So I got my replacement, and so far everything's working fine and dandy. So much so that I'm here even playing Escape from Tarkov with some gameplay for you all. But let's go! I'm so hyped. We're just waiting for the rest of the panel to arrive. There are a few who can't make tonight, but we know DZ can. Wilhelm is here. So is Akira. And we're just waiting for the rest. But the show must go on whilst we're waiting for DZ and everyone else. Unfortunately, OT can't make it, neither can Leviathan Gamer. But all is not lost. We still have a great show lined up for you guys. So to kick things off, first of all, shout out to the chat. Everyone in the chat. We've got Twisted Sin. Shout out to you, sir. Thank you very much for your kind words. Social Destruct. Compost Smurf, I love that name. Mr. Buck Roger himself, the MVP. Toolman 55. I don't know who that weird Akira Silverhand dude is. We'll ignore him. I'm joking. Akira in the chat is also on the panel. 47, Agent 47. I like the name, my dude. I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
Acquisition season, you said. Oh man, don't get me started, man.
Yeah, we'll be touching on the subject, and we'll definitely be tackling all these acquisitions. Logical Nonsense, shout out to you. Thank you for being here, brother. Please, just if the sound is good, let us know. Spam them emojis, whatever it takes. Dark Queen Gaming, good evening to every one of you. So yeah, so far no issues with the audio. That's great news. So let's get the show on the road. Thank you for coming to see this awesome podcast. This is the 9th episode. Got a great show lined up for you guys. Today's topics, but a few are I will show you now. Here we go. Firesprite Studios, let's discuss. Also, yet more Xbox acquisitions, potentially, possibly. Battlefield 2042, is it delayed? Why has it been delayed for only 3 weeks? That's a little fishy. Not sure about why that is, but we'll figure that out. And God of War Ragnarok, is it just DLC? And much more. So it's going to be a fire show, guys. Let's get the panel introduced. Mr. Akira Yagami. How do you pronounce your name? Akira Yagami.
Akira. No. Akira. It's all good. It's one of the easier names to pronounce. Hey everyone, it's been a while. And I played. I finished Fist, the first game from the China Era project, the Rabbit the Mel Arm. Bro,
not just
I'm gonna,
because of like the light.
I'm gonna tell you guys, Fist is just absolutely amazing. That was such a fun time I had it, and yeah, it really surprised me. The game, I thought it was just a Metroid hack and slash, but it's more than that. It really exceeds my expectations. Everybody who got some $30 to spare and got no games to play right now, you should try out Fist. It's a really good game. And I'm getting ready for Lost Judgment. I just, bought the digital deluxe edition. I'll be playing tomorrow. Actually. Yeah, it comes tomorrow. So yeah, getting also Canada is coming on 24th, right? Yeah. So again, September is packed. So any of you also playing Tales of Rise? But yeah, let's have a great shot. Yeah.
Shite. Sorry, guys. I just realised we were playing the intro again with the music instead of the main, so the music was going on, and you guys probably didn't hear a thing that Akira was saying. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
That's just. Oh, I'm such an idiot.
No, it's all good.
I apologise, everybody. Akira was just saying he's looking forward to Lost Judgment, and he's been loving Fist, the video game Fist, and he's completed it. But yeah, sincerely apologise about
It's all good.
my lack of what's the word experience with this software. So yeah, bear with me. Apologies for that. However, cheers, Akira. It's great to have you here, brother. As for Will, what's good, my dude?
Well, what's been happening this past month? I became, Twitter got me on their most wanted list. Been banned, and every other alt that I tried to create has been also sniped. Um, but other than that, things are actually going quite well. It was my birthday like a bit over a week ago, and for that I finally got a PC. It's been a thing that I've been dreaming of. I don't know since I could think. 'Cause for many reasons. Like the reasons why is like for people who have for people probably listening to the podcast, they know why, and saying the reasons why it would be an entirely podcast on its own. But I'm still happy to have it. The library, library of games is like very overwhelming, and so happy to have it. Have so many games installed, so many games to play, and so many things to look forward to. And the game I've been playing right now is Half-Life One, which I think is I've only played an hour of it, but I really like it so far. It has like a slow start, but it's like a good kind of slow start, because it sets up the mood and the world and all that so well. Like that first scene where you're like in that train, and you see the Black Mesa facility from the inside, how it's all working. It's incredible stuff. It's like such a revolutionary game. What the game did so special was the environmental storytelling. There wasn't like a game having storytelling like that. You see how Black Mesa works, see the people working there. Then later on when the experiment goes wrong, you see like scientists desperately like trying to survive. Going through vents, but then like inside the vents, I think there was like some kind of those zombie type scientists that have like those head crabs on them. Then they just drag them over and then just slaughter them. Like it seems like it's going to be a very legendary experience, and yeah, I'm looking forward to experience more of the PC Master Race greatness.
Nice.
Thank you. Yes, 17th. Yeah, 17th.
Hmm.
Thank you. Like I, s- like I still don't know what that game is about. Can you tell me? Sounds like a
Salty,
game that I'm ab-
join us, Salty.
it sounds like a game I'd be absolutely terrible in, but it's still something I'd be definitely having a blast with.
Oh crap, guys! I'm so
Game
sorry.
Pass.
You can't.
Happening.
Uh, I tell you, guys, you can see I'm rusty at this. I left my mic on mute. Uh, all that time, I was talking. I'm
I
such
heard you,
I'm such an idiot.
but we heard you.
I know you guys heard me, but the guys didn't hear me on because in the chat they're listening to my mic through the OBS system, and I had it muted. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm just like wasting your time right now because I'm a noob at this. It's been too long. I'm rusty. I really apologize. So what I was saying was I'm Will has had his birthday. He's just got a PC. Finally able to enjoy these PC games, and I was giving an example: Escape from Tarkov, this game that you can see here, and it's basically a hardcore squad-based or solo get in, get your stuff, and get out military sim. You can team up with 5 different players, and it's dope. Like working as a team is so intense and so rewarding, and you have to kind of learn the ropes, but it's pretty quick to learn if you just kind of figure things out. Um, and yeah, just the experience is unlike anything you can get on console, to be fair. But then there are console games that are unlike anything you can get on PC. That's why I always say, PC and PS5 are both essential if you're a gamer, in my
Wait,
opinion.
so people couldn't hear me either? Uh,
No, they could
or
they could hear you, Wilhelm.
okay,
Um,
so I thought like that my whole Half-Life monologue was for nothing.
yeah, I'm just flipping heck. I think it's Salty in the chat. He's a jinx to the show. He joins the chat and then all shit breaks loose. Now I'm joking. No, it's great to have you here, Salty. Shout out to you, brother, in the chat. We killed it last night on Crossfire on Mooch's podcast. Shout out to him. Crossfire is such a great show, and yeah, we were killing it. Tag teaming them salty Xbots. But no, it's been great. So yeah, now that we've got the intros out the way, and we're still waiting for DZ, who's a no-show now, which is a shame. You know, you just got to roll with your punches, haven't you? You just got to take the rough with the smooth. Let's get into our first topic, guys. Let's do this. So our first topic, before we discuss all of this stuff, let's firstly discuss Gran Turismo 7. Now, are you a racing fan, Will?
No.
No.
The only racing game I like is Burnout. Because Burnout's, because it isn't really entirely a racing game, because its main gameplay loop and main appeal is, that you smash other cars while badass new metal is playing in the background. But other than that, I'm not too fond of racing games. Except Ridge Racer, but because I have nostalgic memories of playing Ridge Racer on my PSP. But other than that, no, I'm not really big into them.
Yeah. Where's Creative Kofi when you need him? Because Kofi
Isn't he online?
Is a huge Gran Turismo fan. What about you, Akira? Are you a racing fan?
I fell off with racing games because the last racing game I enjoyed was Need for Speed Most Wanted. That was the last game. No, actually, no. Wait. That was the second last racing game I enjoyed. I think the last one was Drive Club. And yeah, basically after that, I kind of stopped playing.
Well, to be fair,
racing games
those racing games seemed very, very fun back in the old PS2 era. I feel like ever since these kind of games started to lean more towards simulation, they started to become really, really boring.
The thing is, what I wanted to say is that Gran Turismo, I'm only seeing it because of Sunny Legend making his videos, and it looks absolutely amazing. But yeah, me myself, I'm not releasing games.
Yeah, it's cutting out a bit. Don't know if it's botting for you guys. Was it botting for you then, Will?
Yeah,
yeah. All right. Thank goodness for that. That means it's not my connection. No worries. Well, the thing about GT7 is there's a few issues. One, there's a MVP in the chat right now, Buck Roger, and he's a strict no online gamer, right? He doesn't pay for PS Plus, so he uses that money to buy more games and play them, right? He's old school, he can't play Gran Turismo because only arcade mode is offline enabled. You need an online connection to play the campaign, which is a huge kind of disappointment for quite a lot of people. And it's one of them, do we just bite the bullet and get with the times? Because who doesn't have internet nowadays? But it's not really the point. It's more the principle, And like Salty in the chat, shout out to him. We like to keep it real here. We're not just going to cap for Sony or whatever they do, even though I'm primarily a PlayStation fan, far more than Xbox. I'm not going to sit there and say that this is okay, because there is a benefit to it. It kind of it prevents cheating, and that's something that Kofi highlighted, that he's quite fond of the idea, but for selfish reasons, because he has internet, he pays for online. So, for him, he likes the idea that this online permanency will mean that it's a lot harder for cheaters to progress to insane levels, unlock all the cars and stuff, and outrace everyone else in the game.
Wait, in what context does that online thing goes? Like, do you need to have internet connection just to play campaign, or is it like that? You need like it. Multiplayer thing, or
not just multiplayer. You need it for the campaign. which is for people like Buck, that's a huge turn off, which you can understand. Shout out to Technoir in the chat. Has anyone played the Hell Let Loose beta game yet? Tech, I have, and I'm a sucker for those kind of games. I love them, but the controls are so heavy and unresponsive. It's hard to aim on target. Very difficult. Like, an enemy could be sat still, lying down in the grass, and if you're more than 20 meters away, you'll constantly move your gun way past them, and it's difficult to kind of get a lock on a target. I have managed to kill a few people, and it's satisfying because it's so hard to shoot someone. So when you do, it's quite rewarding. I guess a bit like Killzone, but more extreme. But yeah, it's a bit clunky at the moment. But I guess that's what comes part and parcel of porting over PC games to console. Yeah, these guys aren't used to handling, controllers and programming for controllers. So, it's one of them. Another issue with Gran Turismo is, well, I say it's an issue, but is it really? See, this is why we needed or wanted DZ on the panel tonight. But he's, we thought he was going to be here, but I don't know. He's doing something, but. I wanted to ask from a developer's point of view, how realistic is it to want, let alone expect, ray tracing for a racing game? Is it really necessary? And the L for me certainly is the fact that I kind of took the piss a little bit out of Xbox as Forza Horizon 5 not having ray tracing, and lo and behold, Gran Turismo 7 only has ray tracing in replay mode and in its Photoshop mode, and not in game. Now that's an L in principle, but it's not. Is it an L for the game? What do you guys think? Do we need ray tracing at 150 to 200 miles an hour?
I am.
Hey, Salty bro, thanks for jumping on.
Thanks, Sully.
Yeah, you threw the salt signal in the air, so I had to answer. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Yeah.
So you guys talk about GT7?
Yes, brother.
Yeah.
So is it an L for the game to not have ray tracing in game? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. That's the question.
So it definitely is not an L. I think it's an L on the part of all these gaming companies before the next gen came out. Even Stadia was at fault for this kind of stuff. They weren't really pushing ray tracing, but they were pushing 8K. I would say the main two players is Xbox and PlayStation. They're trying to create buzz for their next-gen system, so they overpromise. You've seen this with the start of every generation. I've showed a video of Major Nelson doing an interview back in like 2013, and he was talking about 4K on the fat VCR Xbox, which obviously was a lie, right? You can't do that on that kind of a system. So they love doing this kind of stuff, doing buzzwords, overselling stuff, 8K on the chip, ray tracing. We've seen it with all the, other things in gaming, but I think that the ray tracing situation was just an oversell to kind of get people, pumped for next generation. And I've talked about this because people would say, "Oh, you're damage controlling on one side or the other based on if you have it in a game or not." Well, that's not the case because PlayStation, which is my main console, has better ray tracing. It's had better ray tracing for the whole generation, basically. It hasn't been that long. But I still say, and I've said this before, that ray tracing is overrated. Ray tracing, in order to have ray tracing go, it seems like every environment needs to be wet and you have to have reflections and puddles everywhere, or you have to go super close to a window and get your reflection coming off the window or whatever. And it's just it's a cool thing to see in photo mode and stuff like that, or when you're taking your time in Spider-Man and walking where there's lots of reflections and stuff. But yeah, it's super unrealistic to say, hey, we're going to have 4K 60 with ray tracing, because these consoles aren't powerful enough for that. Neither console is powerful enough for that. And the GPU difference between the consoles is less than it was between the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X, and it's not just GPU power that you need. It's just these consoles were oversold. Okay, so we got in that mindset that every game needs to have ray tracing. Not every game needs to have ray tracing, and second of all, in Gran Turismo, when you're going 200 miles an hour around a track, how are you gonna be looking at your fucking car, having the reflections coming off of there? And then another point is when the Forza Horizon 5 was shown off, people thought ray tracing was in there, so people have a hard time even deciphering between screen space reflections or ray tracing. That's the biggest issue. It's one of those things where people would say that ray tracing was already in the game if you don't tell them that it's not, or vice versa. So it not being in there is more of an L on the ponies part, like the hardcore PlayStation dudes that shat on Forza Horizon 5 and all the gamers there and said it was shit because it didn't have in-game ray tracing. And then, you know, a couple weeks or a couple months down the road, you're experiencing the same thing. These consoles are not that much different, you know? So I don't understand why us as gamers thought, well, on a more powerful system on paper, I'm not saying a more well-rounded system, why would that system not be able to do ray tracing, and then magically the PlayStation is going to be able to do it? Facts. It's just oversell by a lot of people.
People are expecting miracles, aren't they? I mean, to be honest, we were kind of, it was alluded to in the marketing. It was like, 4K, 60 FPS with in-game ray tracing, and it was like, well, is that? It sounds like it's basically saying the ray tracing is part of the gameplay, which is kind of a
well, they didn't say in racing gameplay.
No, not in racing.
You have to get particular with like
semantics.
Marketing jargon, and like 100%. You have to be like a lawyer sometimes with some of these companies. But
so I think I'll take the L. I'll take the L for thinking that, and 100% I took the L like a champ. But is it an L for GT7? Personally, I don't think so. I mean, just look at this for a second. And shout out to DZ, who has arrived. Yes, he is here. So happy
what's going on, fellas?
Yeah, you had me panicking.
No, I was gonna make it. How are y'all?
I'm so glad you're here, brother. And I'd love to get your thoughts on this as well about ray tracing. Salty's hit the nail on the head. I think it's not really the important thing, especially for Gran Turismo players. It's the physics of the vehicles, it's the racing experience itself. But look at this. You would think I'd give you a pass if you thought this was GT7, right? This is Gran Turismo Sport, and this is a 5-year-old game, and well, almost 5 years old, and here it is, like looking so freaking real, it's ridiculous. So.
Legend,
and that's not shout out to Sunhee Legend, and this is without ray tracing. This is with baked lighting, and it hasn't got all the fancy whistles that GT7 will have. So if this looks real, then how the hell is GT7 going to look like ass? Which a lot of salty Xbox fanboys tend to make this claim that Gran Turismo is going to suck now, which I think is quite ironic, because it's only got the same kind of technical settings that Forza Horizon hasn't got ray tracing either, so it's kind of ironic that they would say that this game will suck, but this looks incredible to me.
About GT7, what do you call this? Well, of course, the online is, I never see online as a great use for any game, to be honest, especially when it's just a campaign. Like you can have online everything, but a campaign, like it needs to be offline at least. This is like something I criticized a lot on Xbox and about the online thing, because I remember somebody was, complaining about why do they need to be online to basically download their game, something like that, right? They need to download the game. They got half the game in the disc, and half of it you need to download online, as like the thing on Xbox. And I said I don't like that shit because everything that's like single player is supposed to be played offline. That's like my idea of it. So whenever I see an online thing, I always like, let's say, lose interest immediately because I really don't like it. I might try it, but I'm not sure if I'm that interested anymore because, like I said, online is not everybody has internet right now. It's really, for me, it's really cutting off. It's like you're cutting off your wrists if you put a campaign online only, because not everybody has internet. Not everybody's going to be able to try it out, something like that. And I mean, even if there's so many people with internet, there's so many people as well without internet, which is why I'm not a fan of online at all, especially when it comes to camping. But ray tracing is impressive to look at, to me. About Forza Horizon, I didn't really give a damn about not having ray tracing because I thought the game looked phenomenal when it was first shown.
Facts.
Like when the game was first shown, I was actually surprised that I was watching gameplay. That's like how my surprise was when Forza Horizon first showed up in E3. I thought it was still in the cutscene, but it was actually gameplay. It just looked good and fucking shiny. The cars, the environment was phenomenal, and what do they call this? Yeah, and basically ray tracing is, I kind of agree with Salty. I mean, ray tracing is really great, and it's actually really cool to boast about when it's there. But when it's not there, it's also, it doesn't take away from the experience, in my opinion. It's like it's more of a bonus if you think about it like that.
Yeah,
it's more of a bonus.
I agree 100%.
And it's true that it's also a bit overrated because I've seen so many people who cannot even point out what exactly ray tracing is, because screen-based reflection, especially with temporal injection, what Insomniac was doing, not everybody could tell what the difference is between screen-based and ray tracing anymore, because sometimes they do a mix of it, right? Nobody could tell the difference anymore. They will think, oh, that's ray tracing, but it's actually not. and because of that, that people could, and this is also exactly why I said, that Digital Foundry's channel is alive because of Console Wars, is because they wait for them. They wait for this damn channel to point out where the fuck ray tracing is, or else they wouldn't know. That's the hilarious part about it.
So my brother, DZ, what's your thoughts on this, my guy? You've obviously been caught up on all of this drama about.
I've been just watching it all play out. So I have a twofold look at it, because I also got suckered into the belief of the ray tracing, but then my thing is, ray tracing was always going to be explicitly confirmed for both these titles. They were going to take care. They were going to demonstrate it in one way or another. I think the way we got suckered into it was because Digital Foundry had, Alex went in on himself and actually studied and did breakdown of all the games that had instances of ray tracing. Now, granted, the very first showing of GT7, Alex was able to point out what was using everything, but in those instances, we were led to believe that it was all gameplay, but those were literally replays and garage scenes where they were able to demonstrate it. So I think due to clever marketing, like Salty was saying, due to clever marketing, and of course, the early impressions of the video and the breakdown that we got from Digital Foundry, most people just kind of assumed, well, GT, Sony, Polyphony Digital, they were going to be putting that in gameplay. Meanwhile, they had not even confirmed or even touched on the specific usage of it. And because at that point, they were still a ways out, Gran Turismo 7 was always one of the nebulous releases. Could it be first half of 2021? Could it be second half? Could it be delayed? It's one of those kind of things. And then don't forget that we also only recently learned that it was coming to PlayStation 4 consoles as well. So it's one of those things where our own expectations, we got carried away with the expectations simply because of how the game was presented. Live, maybe at one point, ray tracing was a thing. And maybe when it got delayed, they decided to take certain things out so that they wouldn't have to make they had to make certain cuts to make sure that they could meet their release time and ship on PlayStation as well, PS4 as well. So there's a whole bunch of different things that's at play that we weren't privy to. And when we look at what Forza came out with, and I really do appreciate that Playground came out and said, yeah, this is how we're doing ray tracing. We're gonna have it in the game, but we're gonna be honest. Our usage is gonna be strictly to that, and literally, for them coming out and being open about it, naturally that led the PlayStation fans, the fanboys, the ponies, the diehards to start clowning it. And like I said, our own expectations based on the limited info that we had and only the Digital Foundry ray tracing topic discussion that Alex had when he was going through the showcase with Richard and everybody else on the show, was literally just detailing the uses of it, and we never got a set of we never got the confirmed features of where it was going to be. We really looked at saw gameplay, but we didn't know which aspects were gameplay and which aspects were gameplay recording via replays. So that L is on us, and there are methods of going about this and doing things, but like racing games go for full visual fidelity, and to play a game on a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, you're going to want the full fat 60 frames per second and the 4K visuals to go about. And that's just kind of how it is. So like I imagine, instead of trying to sacrifice visual fidelity and clarity, and instead of using a temporal anti-aliasing or something, they're just going to go for that versus trying to, okay, we could do ray tracing at 1440p. That would have been another situation where literally everybody would start clowning. Oh, you're doing ray tracing at 1440p. It's not real this or not that or anything,
Yeah.
The narrative and the goalposts shift ever so often with these things. And that's just kind of how it is. So do I feel that this is an L? I took the L myself because I know I was one of the persons that were like, yeah, it's doing ray tracing in this and that's cool, but is it doing ray tracing like Gran Turismo 7? Because we were all led to believe, based on Sony just saying ray tracing is in the game and Digital Foundry saying, yep, ray tracing is in the game. We could see where it's at, but like they never explicitly said that this is live actual gameplay. They literally just said gameplay captured on PlayStation 5. They never said it was replays. They never said it was garage. And if you go back and look at that very first trailer, you could literally see that that's garage footage. You could literally see that it's replay footage now that you look at the context of everything. And it makes sense for them to do it. But it's one of the things that I've been irritated at Sony for is their messaging with certain of these games. Like, we all saw how they led with that strong ass conference in June 2020, and then literally a week or so before the PlayStation 5 was launching, then they dropped the news. Oh, Spider-Man is not Marvel's Spider-Man is not is not a PlayStation 5 exclusive. It's cross-gen. And we're making Horizon cross-gen. And, you remember the uproar that came around that. And it's all due to the messaging. Like if you rip the Band-Aid off sooner rather than later, people have time to process this thing and not feel like they were betrayed. And so Sony's messaging has always been kind of iffy with how they've doled out information this whole PlayStation 5 cycle, and we can see that, So this is just another one of those cases where questionable things were just like, well, you had this whole damn time to confirm and just get the cat out of the bag versus dropping this at the very last, 4 months out from launch or 5 months out from launch. And it's just one of those things where you're just like, okay, like y'all in the lead, stop behaving like this and just be upfront with people. So yeah.
No, yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more with you, dude. Before I touch on something more with regards to GT7, Will, do you have anything you want to throw in?
Yeah.
What's up, Chris Righteous? He's joined us, my brother. You're silent, bro. Can't hear you, Mike.
Hell yeah.
Welcome, bro.
Chris Righteous.
Check your voice settings, Chris. Your mic isn't. And he's gone like the wind, like a turd in the wind.
Oh, hello, can you hear me?
There we go. Yes, brother.
Okay.
Yo, Chris Righteous, what's up, man?
Yeah, no, what's going on, fellas? What's up?
Glad
New
to-
gamers. I seen your I see your DM and I was like, oh, I'm free right now. I just jumped in, so I don't even know what y'all talking. I know y'all
so
talking
glad
about
you're
the...
here. Well, we're just about to get Will's thoughts on GT7, and then we'll get your thoughts as well. But yeah, Will, hit the mic, bro.
Well, first, like the online thing. The online thing to me is just weird. Like why even put like an online kind of requirement on like a single player campaign? It's just to me like I think that's weird and unnecessary. Like where's the benefit? Where's the reason in that? Also, like the problem is like that again, like Akira said, like not everybody has Wi-Fi or like steady Wi-Fi, so that's just a weird move. And the ray tracing thing to me is ray tracing is nice. I like ray tracing myself. In some games, especially, like you just see its effects and how beautiful it really is. To me, though, ray tracing itself, it depends on the game. Because, for example, like more like story-driven games, more open games, games like Miles Morales or a game like Control is like those are like games where ray tracing is a very very nice addition because those are like games where you like spend your time in the world where you like gaze every single little detail and then those ray tracing effects just like come in nicely visually.
Mm-hmm.
To me though, in a game like Gran Turismo, I don't think it's like that
Essential.
necessary because yeah. If there was like actual ray tracing like in game, you would notice it a little bit and you would appreciate it, but then you would like forget about it the second after because this is like a game where you like just on like track and racing. Like, you focus yourself more on the events rather than like the detail around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. Chris, what's your thoughts about this, bro? About Gran Turismo 7? Do you think ray tracing is an L for the game itself?
No, it's not a L. The only reason why this is brought up is because they said it was going to be 4K 60 with ray tracing, so we all assume that's also going to be in the game. And then when the whole situation with Forza come out, that just says ray tracing only in the photo mode, then it became a whole console war thing, which I was a part of. I was teasing people like Smooth and the bots, and stuff like that with this whole Gran Turismo ray tracing thing. But then it came out and found out that no, it's not in game. So I take the L for that. You know what I mean? Because I was one of the ones pushing that narrative as well too. But like Kofi said, right, who's a Gran Turismo enthusiast, like the community of Gran Turismo, they don't give a nobody cares. Nobody really cares if you have ray tracing in the game or not, whatever. They're more excited about returning features and new features regarding the actual gameplay mechanics themselves, not in terms of visuals, even though the visuals still look amazing, like the car details and everything like that is amazing. But one thing I wanted to point out with the whole the always online requirement for Gran Turismo and why people asking, well, why are they doing that? What he literally the director literally said he said it's to prevent cheating. It's to prevent cheating online because in Gran Turismo your single player and offline progression, right, also carries over to the online. And so what that happens does is you'll get these cheaters who like duplicate files and do all the other stuff like in the offline single player mode, and then they carry that over to the online. So this is more about like like an anti-cheat prevention, which is why they're requiring always online. Yeah, it sucks, for people who may not always have an online connection or whatever. But to me, I look at it as like, well, I mean, there's a lot of people who play Fortnite that needs an online connection. Like, there's so many games now that need online connections. Honestly, I think there's really not going to do a whole lot to it. But hopefully, maybe they figure out some type of way to, maybe implement it to where, yeah, you can do races and stuff like that without needing an online connection. But I'm pretty sure most of the people who are going to get Gran Turismo are probably going to have an online connection. But that is the main reason for that, is to prevent cheaters, because all the progress carries over to each other. The online carries over to the single player and vice versa.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, amen to that. Carry on, DZ. Sorry, bro.
No, I mean, I get it with the thing, but like, Gran Turismo has always had, an offline campaign, and so they could have just separated the online portion to be specific about having its own ranking system. So, like, when I look at Gran Turismo, when I've played Gran Turismo, it's always been an offline thing. That experience is what really excites me, and then of course, there's also the aspect of having to do couch co-op or couch play with other people. And so, like, that idea that they're going to take that sacred experience, when that was always a backbone of the racing sim experience for GT, and put that solely online, and have people who there are people around the world right now that are Gran Turismo fans that don't have, and there are many of them. That's a very popular, I mean, Gran Turismo is the highest selling racing brand game in the world, de facto anywhere. That's a thing that you cannot refute. That brand literally carries an entire racing when you hear Gran Turismo, nobody thinks about anything else. There are other games that are out there that are good. There are other games that are out there that do things, and there are games out there that do things better than Gran Turismo. No lie. But this game carries the entire brand of racing around the world.
No other racing game has 190,000 concurrent players at any single given time. I mean, over 900,000 people have played it in the last 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
And you get those statistics, and you get those statistics online.
Yeah, you get those statistics online, true, but there are countless others who are playing this game. They're, for a brand that has sold well close to 100 million in racing alone as a franchise thing, well close to that, right? You have to think that there is a large percentage of that around the world that play those games offline, because that's the only way they're going to get their fix. And these are in third world countries and other places like that really love the sport, but simply can't do it online because internet connectivity isn't there. And it's pretty sad, like, I get the whole anti-cheating thing, I get the whole online progression thing, but like, there is literally going to be a base of players that have zero access to Gran Turismo simply for the fact that this is it. And it's going to be sad because they're going to want to upgrade from sport to to 7, but can't because the online is there. So like, there has to be some sort of aspect of it where I think they could literally just do a nice, great campaign that is offline
There is
accessible
the
to
arcade
everybody.
mode that's offline, but it's not the same. I agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not
that
the same,
progression.
you know. So like, it's a double-edged sword. Like for me, it's like what I said before regarding the whole Horizon Forbidden West. You can't treat this simply as, well, it doesn't affect me because I benefit and I have this, so I shouldn't give a shit about the other players that's out there. Like, as a gaming is a community sport, it's a community hobby. We all have we're all passionate about all these things, right? So like, it makes sense that we rally around the fact that a section of us don't have that access, and we want that access to be granted to them. Like, sure, there is offline modes and stuff, but like, you know, um, I just don't think that was the smartest thing for them to do with this, because it is going to cut off. It is going to cut off a ton of things for, for a fan base as big and as large that carries an entire sport, like that. So, that's my take on the online thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree as far as like, they definitely could do something to implement, some sort of regular offline mode and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe the way they design it. Like, I don't know. I'm not a developer, so I'm not gonna tell the developer what they can and can't do, or they could, or they should do this or should do that or whatever. And I understand for some people out there, because Gran Turismo is a huge phenomenon in the racing scene. It's an Olympic sport. You need your license. You want to get a license, you could use Gran Turismo to get a license and shit like that, and whatnot.
That's actually pretty crazy. It's actually pretty crazy, because I didn't even know that you could get your racing license by using Gran Turismo.
It's a huge deal. It's why I don't get why the Xbox fanboys try to make Forza seem like it's bigger than Gran Turismo. No, absolutely not. Like, and everything like that. But as far as like this whole online, the always online, and like cutting a lot of people off is like, yeah, for certain people, it is gonna suck, and people are gonna feel like they're cut off and left out and whatever. I just honestly, in this day and age, I don't think that's gonna be a huge effect for this game, especially if it's like done extremely well and stuff like that. Like, it's gonna suck for some people who can't do it. But in this day and age, I mean, there's games that are always online that are super, super successful and still millions, and it still gets in the hands of millions upon millions of players as well. So that's my thought. But I agree with majority of what DZ said.
Yeah. So no, great takes on GT7. At the end of the day, guys, I think regardless of what racing game you're into, whether it's a simulator and you're after the realistic physics, I mean, there are gamers that through Gran Turismo have become professional racers. It's so accurate in its physics, and in the tracks. For real hardcore enthusiasts, it's the best there is. But then there's those who just want to have fun and race around and stuff like that, and then there's Forza for that. Regardless of what game you're into, both are at the peak of technical achievement. I think that's fair to say, for different reasons. One's going for a gorgeous open world, the other is going for absolutely unbelievably accurate car models and physics-based simulation. And so regardless of which one you're into, guys, have fun. It's just a shame about this online only mode, which I agree, and arcade isn't the same. But times are changing, guys, and old school gamers are being left behind, and it's a real shame. But moving on, let's tackle this next subject regarding Firesprite Studios. DZ, my guy. I know this is a big deal, something that you wanna talk about. So, let's...
wasn't this the? Yeah, because I remember Desi like a while ago on this podcast saying something about like he saw something crazy Yeah,
Episode
a crazy
one,
game.
it was either episode 1 or episode 2. But
I,
yeah, man, I'm super excited for this
so
studio
so I
because
got a confession to make. I'm really sorry. So do you recall there was like a pre episode 1 beta showing and well I accidentally deleted episode 1 by mistake forever. And I was kicking myself silly. So for everybody who hasn't heard, episode 1 was fire, right? It was crazy, and DZ dropped a huge news bomb on us, like something that nobody had heard before. Could you give people a recap of what you said back then, DZ?
so basically I was going over the features. We were basically discussing cross gen and how we don't really need to dwell too much on the fact that cross-gen games are cross-gen and they cater to that because we're very early in the generation, and like year 2 games are gonna look better than year 1 games and what. But I said I was alluding to the fact that Firesprite was working on something that I had been privy to see, that I got very, 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 I wouldn't say early looks, but like it was early enough for them because they'd started on work on that project, and what they were doing was something that I did not see the industry like pursue before, because the technology that they had on PlayStation 4 and Xbox just wasn't up to par. It just wasn't up to what they were attempting. And everybody speculated that, I said this team specifically has worked with Sony before and on a number of things. And so everybody automatically assumed it was Bluepoint, and I would not confirm or deny because I didn't want to get into any trouble and revoke some of the privileges that I am privileged to have. So nonetheless, this studio has a number of projects, and I've been privy to 2 of them. But the one that really excited me was the second one, which is the bigger, more ambitious game, in my view anyway. The multiplayer game is ambitious. It looks the part for a next-gen multiplayer shooter. It's multiplayer only, so they have the opportunity to like focus in on it and whatnot, but it was something that was farther in development and whatnot, and it was closer. It's farther down the pipeline and whatnot in terms of what they were doing. So like I'd already seen that, and the few takeaways that I could tell, because these are details that are readily available anyway from them being announced as new studio acquisitions, is the fact that they're working on these 2 massive projects. The multiplayer project is supposedly weaving in narrative, and it's weaving in an ambitious narrative that changes the world with world events and stuff like that, and it sets up the conflict for everything. And it's going to be doing seasons and all that stuff, and every season the world is going to change by some major event. Multiplayer shooter, that sort of stuff. Great, looks good. Ambitious, right? The second game, which has started development just maybe 8 or so months after this one, is the thing that I'm most psyched for, and that was what I desperately wanted to talk about. And when they announced that they were acquired and whatnot, and they started talking about some of the things, I was like, yep, this is it. This is the studio. You guys need to pay attention to them. And so I alluded to that on episode 1, and lo and behold, like people need to start taking this damn podcast seriously. When information trickles out of this, we have the sources. We just can't really chit chat and stuff about it. So like we've been,
Love it.
so this studio in and of itself is like, their history is well known with PlayStation. But they've been working with PlayStation for the better part of almost 20 decades. So when I say that they've worked with Sony before, it's not just something that that they were one game or anything. They've gone through, they know PlayStation hardware in and out. So this game is a massive undertaking for them. They're pursuing some crazy things in the narrative side. They're pursuing some crazy things in the visuals, and they're pursuing some crazy things in the technology. And they've been building this very, very unique engine which tackles some things that I've never seen any other studio been able to tackle. And maybe it's because it's on the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 only. But this you would be led to believe that this was a Naughty Dog or a Rockstar project, with how they pursue authenticity, details. But the story, I mean, and this game is, when I started talking about this, when news started coming out about what this project is, I was saying that what they're pursuing, people were asking, is it a narrative? And I said, this is penchant for what we know and love Sony for, the big AAA blockbuster, cinematic narrative, set piece driven, really focused linear, wide linear or linear focused experience with really, really tight responsive gameplay. And when I tell you, I'm still getting goosebumps about what this is, because its theme is dark and mature and gritty. It's action oriented, but it is also very narrative focused. So it is not anything like Telltale or Life is Strange or even Detroit, or Detroit Become Human or anything like that. It's narrative focused because this is what Sony labels themselves as the best storytellers in the world, and quite frankly, they are. And this acquisition, this partnership, this thing that they've done to give them free control and having a seat at the table, not like, say, a studio like, say, Nixxes, which works to build and support and lend technical expertise in polishing video games to like their best functional thing, their best functional form. But they have their own technology, and they're literally contributing to game IP creation. So this team is one to look out for, and this dark narrative action adventure AAA game that they're working on literally is going to blow your fucking socks off. And
Wow.
when they show what I've seen, when they finally show it, you will know why. And like I said, this is probably a 2023-ish game at earliest. The first time I heard, they said that the game could be revealed as early as next year. But yeah, when I found out like everybody else that they'd been acquired, by Sony, because
this really lines up with what you're saying, DZ, because this is a quote from thanks to copy L3 for the DM. Already managed to get that up here, brother. It's a quote saying, "This huge, highly ambitious partnership project takes atmosphere, storytelling, player agency, and narrative firmly into groundbreaking territory on next-generation hardware technologies. This project has AAA ambitions with a heavy focus on art, animation, and delivering unique character performances to heighten your player presence and immersion to new levels." And bless them, it's kind of cute. This article kind of has a big picture of Life is Strange as an example. But from what you're saying, this is completely anything but Life is Strange. This is blow your socks off, entire kind of different level.
It is, and it's I mean, man, I cannot stop talking. I'm waiting for the day for them to show it, because when y'all see it, like, I guarantee you some God. Anyways, so yeah,
You're really
Y'all pay
excited.
y'all need to pay attention to Firesprite. Y'all need to follow them, watch them like a hawk. When they speak, shut the fuck up and listen. That's it.
Damn, bro.
And can I
We are
add?
listening. We
Yeah.
are listening. Go on, Chris.
Okay, so what I will say about like from the outside looking in and seeing this studio that nobody really knows. I mean, yeah, they do have a history with PlayStation or whatever, but they're not somebody that anybody was taking for Firesprite. Like if you see the announcement, a lot of people were like, "Who the hell is Firesprite?" I was like, "Who the hell is Firesprite?" Right? And
I know.
but going off of what what Desi's saying, so anybody who's listening, right? Even if you don't know Desi, you don't know you don't know if you can trust him or what he's seen. Is he a real insider or not real insider from what he's seen or whatever? This is what I want to add to that. Is like Sony, when they make acquisitions and when they buy studios, is usually is usually well thought out. They don't go on like no spending spree. They're not gonna just buy any old rinky-dink studio or anything like that. Now, from we know the studio has like over 250 people, I think with like 40 more hiring or whatever. So this is a huge studio. It's bigger than all like a lot of their European studios over there at Sony. So to me, the way I'm looking at it is even without knowing anything about the games or anything like that, if Sony bought this studio, it must mean to me that they saw something that this studio is cooking up to make them be like, holy shit, we need you guys on our team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like
they're working on 4 different games, and one of them sounds insanely ambitious. If the 4th one is still in the works now, since Firesprite have been bought, it's not confirmed whether they're still working on this joint effort to create a game mode for Star Citizen. And this game mode is literally a multiplayer Battlefield-esque mode fighting between space stations and the ground of 2 different planets. Literally, it's one huge epic war zone. And you can fly to the ground. Well, you've seen Star Citizen, right? You can fly into the planets and land. Well, that on a huge scale, and this huge aerial space to a terrestrial conflict. Now, whether they're still working on that, I'm not sure. But if they are, and they were bringing that to PlayStation, that sounds pretty ambitious. So it doesn't surprise me if they had that talent to do that, to work on Star Citizen. Then it doesn't surprise me that what DZ is saying about the ambition of this narrative adventure title that's in the works, and what you're saying too, Chris, about what Sony must have seen in them. That their talent is clearly understated, seriously understated, and we really need to be watching these guys closely. I think this is a sleeper studio.
When you look at it, they were the team, the people who started this team were also a part of Liverpool Studios for Sony. The team that ran Wipeout, that did the Wipeout, the team, for a while, they used to do the Wipeout games. And then of course Sony closed down the studio, and they grew into their own legacy and whatnot. And even though that studio closed down, they still remained in a healthy relationship because they continue to collaborate. Like Firesprite served like a nexus almost in helping to collaborate, or a Trazier, or they served on a multitude of projects, especially on the PlayStation 4 era, and launching the Playroom, Astro's Playroom. They worked with Asobi. They've collaborated on Asobi's, on Team Asobi's Rescue Bot mission. So like, if anybody's played a Team Asobi game or a Team Asobi experience, you've experienced a lot of technical know-how and fun. Just the amazement of them being able to capture fun directly attributed to the development of the Playroom games, the VR and the AR experiences that we've had on PlayStation 4 specifically. And even, so like, do not sleep on these guys. Just because you don't know their name doesn't take away from their strong legacy of contributions to gaming, but also to PlayStation platforms. These guys have been there from the get-go, Wipeout's been there.
Yeah, Wipeout's been an incredible title since the early 2000 PS1 era.
Exactly. So these guys have been there. The studio founders who founded Firesprite founded Studio Liverpool. They were one of the first PlayStation studios. We go back, or subsidiaries of PlayStation. So these guys are here, and the talent pool is massive. And just like Insomniac, these guys have an incredible pipeline of things that they're working on. So like, watch them.
I mean, as long as we don't have another blue box situation. I mean.
I think honestly, guys, like it was crazy the amount of coincidences with Blue Box, but I really have given up all not hope, but all interest really, because we all know Silent Hill is in the works anyway, because Kojima has pretty much confirmed it in how he is constantly dropping Silent Hill references and tweets about Silent Hill. So I just don't give a shit anymore about Blue Box. They can do whatever they want. If the game's good on reveal, the game's good. If it's not, there's no loss. It doesn't matter. What's that giggle? What's that telling me, DZ? Come on.
No, I'm giggling because I knew because I purposely stood away from that entire drama. Like I saw for weeks in, week out that you guys were just winding yourselves up, and I'm just like, whatever, man. I'm not a part of any of this.
Yeah, well, listen, you smug, I know better, kind of, I know, clever, wise, shrewd man. You fell for Gran Turismo 7, so you're not completely innocent in this, right? So,
but listen, I never said that I was innocent, but I did know for a fact that I just was not going to be a part of this.
Yeah, that's the dev in you. That's the dev in you talking. You've got that level of insight that means you can foresee potential L's and dodge most of them, but not all of them, but most of them.
Listen, like any PlayStation fan and anybody who's, before I was a game dev, I was a PlayStation fan, right? So, naturally, we all have our biases and our preferences and the things that we like more than one another than the other. So, like, those things feed into your better devils or your worst devils, whichever. But like, there has to be something that drives you to want something. So like I said, I'll happily take the L wherever I see fit, and I'll like.
There's not many. You don't have many, bro. So you've got room. You've got room for one or two. Hats off to you, bro. You know what though? That's so exciting to hear, guys. That what DZ said back in episode 1. It was about it, we now know it was explicitly about Firesprite. These are not a studio to sleep on. They are so understated, and what they've got in store for us, according to DZ, who, let me remind you guys, is a dev. He has inside knowledge and sources and shit like that. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So
I don't talk about shit I don't know. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah. and also you've been and in case there's any of Jim Spencer's, I'm going to call him Jim Spencer. If there's any of Jim Spencer's kind of, I know, spies kind of in on the chat right now listening in, you never revealed anything about this. You kept a tight lip. You just said what Sony have in store with one particular studio is crazy. And so hats off to you for keeping keeping it tight-lipped and
Aye.
making us all eager to hear more.
Yeah, that's the
Well,
proof
that-
right there. Just go watch that podcast, and then there you go. That's the proof right there.
Not like, look, for real. No dev likes their stuff being spoiled. They love the tease. They love to drop breadcrumbs, right? But like when leaks happen and stuff like that, it hurts the team because they've worked so hard for everything, and for it to be leaked, it damages them. Cool. So like, yeah. You know, it's not cool. So like being in that industry and also seeing these things and also being a fan from the outside, seeing those things happen, it's tough. So like, devs before fans, because I'm a dev myself, but fans are a close second. So like, be nice to us. Yeah. We're making good stuff. We're making experiences for you guys. So like, you know, just have patience and let them work in peace. And don't DM me asking me for shit because I ain't gonna tell you.
Yeah, I love it. I don't do that, by the way, guys. Just so you know, I don't message DZ asking for inside knowledge. But yeah, but no, that's awesome. Amen to that. And yeah, roll on Firesprite's reveal. We are eager to hear all of this, and it'll be great to tweet out this podcast after we're done, echoing some of the things that you've said, DZ, about Firesprite. I think it'll get people pretty damn excited. And let me tell you guys, let's just all take a moment to appreciate something, right? We've touched on this before. DZ has as well, and I know I have, and we've both spoken about it. But I don't know about you guys, but I found the most exciting thing about Death Stranding was before the gameplay reveal, when the trailers kind of gave us so much to kind of speculate and think about, and you know, it kind of, I'll never forget how the first initial trailer kind of made me feel, and a large part of
like the weirdest, goofiest Kojima shit ever, and
but
I'm like,
I love it.
Willie,
listen. I'm going to say this before, and I'm gonna give you guys. I'm gonna just be quiet. Like I will tell everybody here that I am not a Metal Gear fan. I can't get into those games. I know Wooly and I know Akira and I know so many other fans of Kojima swear by that work, but for whatever reason, I could just not be pulled into that world. I was enamored by Death Stranding, and like that game made me a massive wanker for Kojima. So like, I stand by Death Stranding. And when I say it's the weirdest, goofiest Kojima shit, it's because it is quintessential him to a T, but in like the best freaking ways that I could not get into. It's the best freaking ways that I could get into that game that I could not find myself enveloped in the Metal Gear saga. And like, I'm a fan, so like, I will defend and I will chop fucking heads off for Death Stranding. And like, I don't care who wants to fight me over it. Like, you ready? I'll give you my address. Roll up.
Yo, Willie, like, I 100% agree with you, bro. I was, before like Death Stranding like came out, I would say I watched at least 10 to 12 hours of theory videos.
Me too, bro.
Deep dive into what the fuck was going on. You know, Egyptian symbols and what that symbolizes.
Is Mads Mikkelsen the Sorrow out of MGS3 because he had the same gestures? It was like, shit.
Yeah, bro. I was heavy, and the only thing that like at first I was kind of set back by it because of some of my expectations, because the only thing we were seeing beforehand is actually what the game really was, which was, you know, him delivering packages and whatever, right? And I knew that was a part of the game, but I think that was just the front, and it was gonna go in a whole crazy different direction at that point or whatever. But it's like, no, that was mainly the game. But when I finally got to play the game and shit like that, I was like, yeah, I just fell in love with it. I thought it was very unique. Yeah. Yes, it is. The main gist of the game is going from point A to B, delivering packages, but it's just like how everything just fits together in like the gameplay loop, and it all makes sense together. Like everything is so cohesive and whatnot, and like it's not just going from A to B; it's going from A to B, but determining how you get there and what the terrains you have to navigate through it, and you're constantly engaged and having to hold your package together and whatever. So to some people that may find boring and shit like that, like I get it, but it's like when you actually play the game and actually give it a chance. Yeah, in the beginning it starts off super slow. In the beginning it's like nothing but like 4-hour cutscenes and shit like that, right?
Yeah,
Like it was like it starts off super slow. I would say it takes maybe about like 10 hours or so, and some people that would be completely off-putting or whatever. But it's like when you after you get past the first area, and then you finally you take the boat to cross over to the main area you're gonna be in and shit like that. That's when like shit really picks up and it gets like really really crazy. Because some people will go through like chapter or like 1 through like 6 or 1 through 8 or whatever, and just like completely like I'm not feeling this shit, whatever. But then like the second half of the game, it just gets super crazy.
For me, the whole draw was the fact that it wasn't just a run and gun, Uncharted action adventure kind of thing. It very much has all those things, right? But like
that's not the focus. Yeah,
that's not the focus, and the sheer mystery of how the game reveals itself with its storytelling is fucking genius, bro. Like I still can't. I really think only Kojima could create a game like that and have it stick.
Wilhelm,
like,
have you managed to play Death Stranding? Okay.
Yeah, I did, and I think Death Stranding.
Yeah, I
is
did.
an absolute, like,
Absolutely.
I think that game is an absolute masterpiece. Like I've never played a Kojima game before, or did I? I don't know if I played Metal Gear Solid Peace.
You need to play those games, bro. If you love retro, play Metal Gear, bro. Play it. What are you doing? Play it.
I have those games. Like I have those games, but look. I'm sometimes a complicated person. The time will come.
Get him off this podcast. I'm joking.
Time will come. Everything to its time. Okay. But
Yes,
I played
brother.
Death Stranding. I think it's like an absolutely brilliant masterpiece. Like at first, I've seen also all those trailers, and I love those trailers. Like those cryptic trailers. Like those are like the best kind of trailers because they tease you and they're so attractive because like they invest you. Like you want to know more of what it is. You're like invested. You like, okay, what's this going to be? Please, I want to see more and more and more. And then when the game itself, revealed, when they said what the game was basically about, I was put off at first, but then I thought to myself, it's probably more than just delivering packages, and it is more than delivering packages. Like I never understood the criticism of people being like, yeah, it's basically just a Uber delivery man simulator or whatever, because it really isn't.
No,
like
it's basically like saying
like
a first-person shooter is basically just point and click,
Yeah.
and it's like this. With a lot of FPSs, there's more to it.
Like it's the way the way itself is like, the journey. It's the journey that's really like spectacular because
Yeah.
you always have to suit yourself for the situation you're in. You have to like view the environment, think to yourself, okay, what kind of gadgets do I need? On what kind of ground am I going to be walking on? If it's like a snowy area or something, you have to like get yourself those heat bottles or whatever they're called, and you have to get like yourself this special equipment to move faster through snow. And then you also have to look out for those PTs or whatever these things are called, or GDs. I forgot.
BTs, beach things.
BTs, exactly. Like what I think was what I thought was brilliant about that game was like the dynamic it had. Like it's like probably one of the most dynamic games I've ever played. Because at first, the way the journey itself gets you excited, then you're constantly challenged. Either it's like a cliff you have to like overcome. You have to figure out, okay, what kind of stuff do I have to place on that particular surface?
And it's also really crazy how for those who don't know, simple explanation. This isn't spoilers, but a beach is basically a person's mini limbo, I guess you could say, where the each person when they die, they go to their own beach. Now, in times of mass death or murder or distress with death, these beaches can become entangled like webs. And with when you're able to visit these beaches, because Sam has this thing called dooms, which allows him basically to have, in other words, like having a sixth sense. He's got paranormal sensitivity, and with that he's able to visit these beaches. But by visiting Cliff's beach, he's able to relive the things Cliff went through. In essence, he's time traveling, because he's able to see the things of the past. And how the conclusion brings all that together leaves you not only with goosebumps. It left me crying. It left me crying at the sheer spectacle of the performance, the music, the visuals, the meaning of everything, the impactful performances of the actors. And then the final mission, I needed literally consoling. I couldn't finish it. I was crying. I was in a mess, and my girlfriend was like, "Oh, baby," and she was laughing a little bit at me because she found it hilarious. But at the same time, she was like rubbing my back because I had my head in my hands, crying and sobbing, saying, "I can't do it. I can't finish this mission." I was literally that much in a mess, and no other game has left me quite like that.
Shout out to Baby Lou.
The funny thing
Facts.
is, Death Stranding was also a game that
Louise.
Death Stranding was also a game that nearly made me cry. Like that last mission. Like
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. But yeah.
I don't spoil it. No worries. But like that last mission, that last cutscene, I tried. I wanted to cry at that moment, but then my brother came, and I was like, no, I have to look strong. You know, this is my smaller brother. I'm the big man. I don't shed tears. It was like one of the only things that nearly made me cry besides Forrest Gump. And it's such a beautiful game, man. Like the thing that I wanted to where you cut me off a little, Wooly, the thing that was dynamic to me about the gameplay was, like, for one, you had to adjust yourself, for the journey, what kind of gadgets you bring in. Then you have to, like, deal with all those dangers outside. Like, one moment you can run up to those bandits, those crazy people who, like, want to try to steal your packages.
The mules.
Yeah, the mules.
They have an addiction to delivering. That's so
Like,
funny. I can't get my head around that.
Like, for example, they, like, constantly chase you, and then when you cut them off, suddenly you're in an area where there are lots of these BTs. Those areas, like, always get my anxiety levels rising to new highs. But then when you overcome all of these dangers, suddenly all the angst, all the pressure, like all the tension just goes away, and what's left is like that comfortable and
there's no ending quite as satisfying. The ending to that game, how it kind of gave you the ultimate reward and the ultimate, I don't know, peace, like the sense of completion, and like you would never desire a sequel to that game. Yeah,
I don't want a sequel.
And yet they're giving one, but it's that perfect. Sorry, I've just realised my gameplay's been gone for ages. But regardless, the fact that we didn't ever expect it or want it is because it was so complete already, and the way it finished was just so profound. It was like, holy shit, roll on the director's cut, man. I love that game so much. It's ridiculous. You guys need to play it. If you've not played it, you guys need to play it. Anyone in the chat, do yourselves a favor, play that game.
Like, it's a perfect combination of angst, tension, and mellow peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
facts.
Absolutely.
Facts. Now, moving on, guys. After that awesome recap about Firesprite, how crazy hot they are. Oh, sorry, Akira, is there anything you wanted to say?
No, you guys really basically said almost everything I love about Death Stranding. So me, I'm a huge Metal Gear fan. Basically, I don't know if I said this before, but Hideo Kojima really means a lot to me, and the reason for that is basically when I was born, father basically already ran away, right? So I don't have a father figure to look up to, and then basically Metal Gear is full of these quotes that I basically apply to my life. So I kind of see Kojima like, like a father figure that way. That's why I'm such a hardcore fan of this. He's my favorite game creator, basically. And then Death Stranding. To be honest, when I saw Death Stranding for the first time, I was just intrigued, but I didn't know if I was gonna like the game at all. But I was very intrigued about it. And Death Stranding, frankly, is actually one of the reasons why I even have a Twitter account in the first place. Because when Death Stranding was first shown, with the infamous "I am back" of Hideo Kojima, I was, tears into my eyes and shit. When I was desperately looking updates for the game, I noticed that Kojima only updates on his Twitter. That's basically why I created a Twitter account so that I can follow him. It's actually the main reason for it. And Death Stranding, and yeah, I don't know, it grew to this almost 4,000 followers account, so I didn't really expect it, but what I wanted to say is that
we owe you a congratulations as well, Akira, on your securing a PS5. That's a big win.
Yeah, that's right. He got the bag. He got the bag.
All because of your beautiful wife managed to cap it for you.
Absolutely.
Tell you what, a good wife who can find? I tell you.
Yes. Keep her for real. And about Death Stranding, when I first played Death Stranding, to be honest, after 5 minutes, I was hooked. I really. It's hard to explain why the atmosphere walking into a world that you don't know of is so gripping to me. Like the first 5 minutes after basically after Sam basically crashes, right? he kind of crashes because he wanted to avoid Fragile, and the first 5 minutes where you walk towards the cave and just see this atmosphere in this world, and I never felt that atmosphere before in the game.
So
you've
touched on something
surreal.
You've touched on something that I just want to pick DZ's brain about, right? So you see these trailers, like I'll never forget. It's so disingenuous, but Assassin's Creed Valhalla had a part of the trailer where he was walking with his cape slowly, looking up at some mountains, right? And it looked so epic for but a moment. And the thing is that when you walk slowly and take the time to really smell the roses and look around at the scenery without a HUD and without distracting shit like that, there's a profound sense of I don't know, like immersion that is increased from when you're just running or going through the motions of the game, right? And it's happened with a few games that has for me. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Horizon Zero Dawn, but when I stopped and I just walked slowly and I really took it in, I appreciated it more and I enjoyed it more, right? It's like Death Stranding is the absolute embodiment of that feeling all the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, because it forces you to move slow. It forces you to stop trying to run. It forces you to unlearn muscle memory of years of video games. Of years of video games where you're just out there to freaking run and gun, hide behind.
It's the thing about Death Stranding. What's very interesting about Death Stranding is, like I said, the first 5 minutes, it really felt like I was entering a movie. Like it was a weird, not really weird. It was a strange feeling. It's like a feeling I've never felt before. But the way Sam was walking towards the same that Sam was walking towards the cave again, it felt like a movie. The atmosphere was so gripping, and when I started delivering packages, it got the vehicles and all that and all these weapons, and it's just addicting. it just really got so addicting that I got like over 250 hours on that game. No, 275 hours on the stranding. And yeah, I actually plan to make a space on Death Stranding because Chris Righteous and Strictly Gaming gave me an idea after they made a spaces about games. Like he did Returnal. Chris, you did Returnal, right? And Strictly Gaming did
No,
The Last
not
of Us.
yet. But
They're about to.
but I will
I
say
missed that?
that I am one of that. Okay, so Strictly he started all like the spaces
Last
in
of
the
Us
gaming
2.
community,
Yeah.
the gaming community, right? And then Optimus started getting doing it, and it started in Luca, and it started getting bigger and bigger. But it started to become more about topics about either controversies or toxicities or just controversial stuff that's in the news or whatever. But like I would say that I'm one of the ones now on Twitter that are starting spaces that are actually focused on like particular games. So I did one focused on Final Fantasy VII remake. The last one I had was focused on
that's right.
Wolverine and Spider-Man 2 theories and stuff like that, because I want more balance as far as like in this community, especially on Twitter. I feel like everybody talks about everything else except the actual games themselves.
Yeah,
That's how I
true.
feel. So I like to bring in more of a balanced perspective of like, yo, let's talk about the shit we actually love doing, which is playing games, but actually talk about the games themselves. Talk about what you like, the mechanics, the theories, what you want in a sequel, what you didn't like, and all that other shit. Instead of all the other bullshit, which I'm okay with all the other bullshit too, but only in doses or whatever. Like I like some of the fuck shit. I like some of the banters and back and forth or whatever. But it gets to the point where it's like it's so oversaturated, and it just consumes the entire gaming community of just nonsense. Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to. I mean, Strictly Gaming, like I said, he did The Last of Us 2, and I thought of, you know what? Why not make Death Stranding? It's such a
what's awesome about all
very
this?
divisive game.
Look at what's happened here. We have topics to stick to, and yet we've just spent the last half an hour just talking about how much we love a game, and that's kind of what gaming is about, isn't it? I just love that shit.
It's all right.
Moving on to the, because we're not accused of clickbait.
No.
Let's cover the God of War Ragnarok DLC first of all.
No.
I say DLC.
No,
It's not DLC.
so
That's
much,
bullshit. But yeah,
I got so much to say about this.
Well, let's hear you rant, bro. Take it away. But first, before we do, let's just let people know. For those who aren't aware, on Twitter, there's a lot of Xbox, particularly Xbox fanboys, calling Ragnarok just DLC. And they have. It seems like they have no idea how much of an improvement this game is to 2018.
This is fucking Miles Morales all over again, man. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. It's Miles Morales all over again, dude. Like. Do you have that picture of Kratos? The one that they shown, kind of like his character portrait. Can you view that right now on the stream? I want to point something out because I have been self-studying 3D animation, which means I have been understanding character models better and details and all that shit. And
this one
glance. Yeah. One glance at the character model of Kratos right now is such a testament that the game is.
See, this is 2018, and this is the 2018 model.
The game is actually so much better than what a lot of people think. This DLC bullshit. It's unbelievable. Like, this is the 2018 model, right? That's true. Now, if you go for the Ragnarok, so here in Ragnarok, again, the people are so. It doesn't look the same at all. Like you see here, for example, the details in. Let's just go for the clothing right now. Details in the clothing of this one. This is like when you're a sculptor, because they got Raph, right? Raph is one of the best fucking sculptors in the world. Let's just get that out there. And Raph, basically, he sculpts this high quality models, right? But normally in the PS4, for example, what he sculpts always, it always gets downgraded, of course, because the system cannot run the amount of fidelity that he normally sculpts at, right? But here in the trailer, you could clearly see, if you are following Rap's work, that the way he sculpts his stuff is exactly what's being shown on the screen. Like, there's no downgrade, there's no cutting, there's nothing. It is literally what he sculpted and he's putting it in the game with so much fidelity and so much detail, like he always does.
Yeah.
And
I said,
and if you got a different angle of Kratos, you will see this. This Insomniac started with muscle deformation with Miles Morales, right? And Kratos actually has the same thing. They also applied a muscle deformation in Kratos' body. If you have a different angle,
I've seen the picture of that. Let me.
Yeah, if you've seen the, like I said, the character portrait that Ref revealed.
I'll see if I can find it. Hold on.
Like when I first saw that, when I first saw that model, I was fucking blown away, man. Like the people are not understanding how much better it looks. Again, it's really sad. By the way, DZ, I made a point a while ago. I said sometimes I believe that some people are underwhelmed in God of War is because they saw Spider-Man 2 first. You know what I mean, DZ?
Yeah.
Like there's like a certain benchmark in people's
I don't
heads.
agree with that.
No. Just listen. The thing is, when I saw Spider-Man 2, I really thought I was fucking watching a pre-rendered CGI trailer. I'm not even gonna joke about that. And
no,
Insomniac
deadass looked the part. Like I'd said in the spaces that we did while I was in London, it deadass looked the goddamn part. It looked like a fucking CGI.
Yeah,
but
then Insomniac game developers, like 4 of them, including the blog posts, fucking came out with, the game footage that we show you is.
I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys 2 models. All right, this one is of Kratos in 2018 God of War. It's on,
yes.
Now let me see if I can.
This is perfect. See this? Look at the fucking shoulder.
Right,
look at his shoulder
that's
on
Kratos
the new model.
2018. This is Kratos from Ragnarok. The difference is night and day. Look at the deformation.
Look at the shoulder.
Yeah.
Look at the shoulder. Like that muscle deformation, that looks fucking real. Like if you see, if you see DZ, right, and DZ's fucking muscular, it literally looks like that. It literally looks like that, right?
It's true.
Y'all playing too much. Hush.
No, but DZ. That's
come
what
on,
I meant, right?
come on, you love it. You love it.
The deformation. The deformation is the deformation is accurate, right? That's what I'm trying to say.
Look at DZ's shoulders right there.
No. One sec. So the shoulder is only one thing. I mean, again, it's the muscle deformation is staggering. When I first saw that, I'm like, what the fuck? That's like my reaction to it. And then, of course, people pointed out the beard. It's more detail. It's not very, what do you call this? Noisy. It's not blurry. It's not noisy. It's more clear. Yeah.
Like,
and then
comparing these two here, you can see a drastic improvement.
Yeah, don't get me started about his skin texture.
And also,
the
I
skin
noticed
texture.
His face has undergone a bit of a transformation as well.
He's aged. He's aged.
And
they're able to show that age more because of the fidelity that they have.
But in a weird way, even though he's aged, he looks less old. Now, what I mean by this is that, like, they've obviously beefed him up a little bit in Ragnarok. He's got more muscle, and you can't see his rib cage as easily from what
I think.
Maybe that's just the armor.
I think it makes sense because
But
he's
his face,
literally preparing
his face
for
as well.
Ragnarok.
His face looks less gaunt, whereas in Ragnarok, his face looks less gaunt. Or in 2018, his face had a gauntness to it. Now, it was only visible at certain points, but there was a gauntness to his face. I don't know how else to explain it. Do you guys
Again, this
get
is
what I mean? I don't know.
no, I get what you mean, man.
Whereas
I get what you mean.
now look at him here. He looks ready. He looks just
Again,
the subtleties of his facial expression says everything.
I got this again. I got this a little bit of advantage of knowledge because, like I said, I've been self-studying 3D animation, and when you self-study 3D animation, you need to understand character models. And again, what I'm looking at is it's not like anything people have seen before. It's like I'm gonna say it because let's just say the eyes, they kind of people normally adapt to, they always look for a benchmark, like the most, always the most thing, right? And God of War, even if it's cross-gen, it doesn't look that far from, something like Spider-Man 2. Although Spider-Man 2 looks fucking crazy. Like, again, when they say it's game footage, then I rewatched the trailer, and then I noticed that yes, it's fucking replay mode, and it looks like 3 finishers. Because if you play Spider-Man, right, they do finishers, Miles and Peter. They have these finishers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're gonna rewatch the trailer of Spider-Man 2 and look carefully, it is literally like 3 finishers. It's like Peter does 1 finisher, Miles does 1 finisher, and then they do the joint finisher. And then after that, it cuts to a cutscene in which they both look to that dark alley and, Venom.
This man read my tweet, man. You read my tweets?
And me?
Yeah, because that's
I
exactly what I said.
always read your tweets.
People,
I always read your tweets, man.
No, I know, because kids. I remember Kids Moo trying to tell me, "Oh, that's not gameplay or in game or whatever," and I was like, "Nah, this is exactly what they're doing." Even before they confirmed, they already confirmed it was in game by the first trailer. Says running on PS5, right? But even before they even said is real game VFX. I said, I was like, because what gave it away for me right away is. Okay, so after the dude hits the street light, right, with the electricity, right, and then you see the flash of the Spider-Man suit, of Peter Parker's Spider-Man suit, right? In that sequence with Peter Parker, he launches the enemy in the air, and he does like 3 hits, right? He does like an air combo, and then he charges up. That right there, you can absolutely tell that's in-game animation.
Gameplay.
That's not. Because a CGI will look a little bit more smoother than more movie-like and stuff like that. That was 100% in-game animation, and this is what I was telling people. Is like what they're doing is just like Akira says, they're taking up the combo finishers like the other games, but for the trailer's sake, right? They're doing all these camera cuts to make it look way cinematic and everything like that.
It's just like if you guys remember, this was funny because if you guys remember when Miles Morales was first announced, nobody was certain if what we're looking at was gameplay. Nobody. Yep. They were thinking like, oh my god, that looks like in-engine. That was the first thing I've heard, remember? And then I'm like, I was looking at it and I'm like, no.
Akira and I actually watched the stream together last year. So
exactly. Yeah, DZ and I watched it together, and we were like, "Is that?"
There was telltale signs it was in game and not CGI. Like this bit here, the action, the action scenes.
We were like, DZ and I were like, "Is that ninja?" Then we saw the one where Miles Morales web and do a kick, and he does the venom, the venom to the venom power to the floor. And then the one where he jumps over and do a Venom again, I'm like, nah, that looks gameplay. I was like, nah, that looks like gameplay. And we were right. It was gameplay. And the thing was, Insomniac is so good at this camera cuts with their replay mode where it kind of looks like a movie, but it's actually their gameplay. It's kind of like what Sunny Legend does, but, more professional. I mean, Sunny Legend kind of does that, but Insomniac does it on another level. It's like they're directing a movie, but with their gameplay, and that's why people some people don't see it immediately, and then and then they need to show it first. Like I remember the reaction when Miles Morales gameplay was shown in the second showcase. People couldn't believe their eyes. It looked the same. It looks exactly the same like the announcement trailer, and it's gonna be like it's gonna be like that for Spider-Man 2 because the camera will change, of course, depending on if they want to go close and personal or still like the normal far away camera. But it's gonna look like that still.
I want to continue with Spider-Man 2, but I want to go back to God of War because that was
God
the
of
topic.
War. Yeah, sorry, I wanted to. About God of War.
God of War. No, because I also want to give my thoughts
on
God of War when it comes to the visuals, the visual upgrades, and the people calling it DLC. That's fanboy shit. Obviously, right?
Miles Morales, bro. Miles Morales again.
No, because those people didn't call Gears of War 5 DLC to Gears of War 4, even though they have the same animations. You ain't call God of War 2, you know what I mean? By their logic, God of War 2 is DLC to God of War 1, Uncharted 2 is DLC to Uncharted 1, Gears of War is Halo 2 is DLC to Halo 1. So these people are just salty that the game looks amazing and stuff like that or whatever, and it's a true direct sequel set in the same locations because it is in the Norse mythology, and because of that, people are saying, "Oh, it looks similar to the first." Of course, it's gonna look similar to the first because it's a direct sequel. That's what direct sequels do. They look similar to the. If it's something completely different, it's not a direct sequel. So I never understood that. As far as the visual upgrades, the moment I noticed the visual upgrades is the moment in the trailers early on. You see a cut. I think it's like after he throws Freya, you know what I mean, with the shield. He tosses her off to the shield or whatever. There's like a cut where you'll see Kratos, right? He's by himself and he's walking through like this snowy mountain, and you see like the wind effects. That right there looked way noticeably different than like when you go to God of War 2018 and they're walking through that little snowy pathway up the mountain and stuff like that. Yeah. You look at that and you look at this one in God of War Ragnarok. That's when I knew right away. I was like, no, this is an upgrade. But here's the thing: God of War 2018 already looks amazing, even to this day and shit like that. So, and they're pushing this one even more when it comes to the scale, because it's not just about the visuals that I'm looking at; it's also everything else. Like I seen a town with NPCs in them, which that was not present in God of War 2018. You see where Kratos he walks out, and this is like this grand scope, like this whole grandiose, grand scale environments and stuff like that with the draw distance. Super clean and super like that wasn't done in God of War 2018, so it looks like it's a direct sequel and leap to the first one, which Ragnarok is also on PS4. So there's still gonna be some stuff that they're limited to. So like this isn't a built from the ground. This is what people gotta understand. This isn't a built from the ground up PS5 exclusive God of War, right? So it's gonna look very similar to the first game, but it's not no DLC. Like that's just stupid because every sequel now is a DLC. Everything that comes out for Forza Horizon 5 DLC to Forza Horizon 4. You know what I mean? So
there's a huge improve. I mean, I said in my tweet about God of War Ragnarok, I said 2018 set the standard so high that nobody realized it could be surpassed. But God of War Ragnarok has, and this is what we're dealing. We're going into micro detail territory now, because 2018 was already so high, it's hard to immediately tell the difference, no matter how much better the character model is or could be. It's already at that point now where it's uncanny valley, So. Yeah, I think people, like you said, Chris, don't give games like this the credit they deserve because, and yet they cap for games like Gears 5, which uses the same rolling animation as Gears 1. But that's not a bad thing. That's not a criticism, right? Because when you think about it, more detail and more time can be spent into the things that truly matter if they can reuse what certain things like. The character Kratos getting into his boat. I mean, there was that tweet from Gandalf Gaming. Shout out to him. He made a bit of a fool of himself. Bless him. for criticizing the boat animation, albeit to troll. You know, it's what Gandalf does. It's all for laughs. But and with that, he got a whole backlash because, you know, tell me you don't know how game design works without telling me you don't know how game design works. You know, exactly. You know, the fact is, why would you spend weeks on a new boat animation when you're spending years on, I don't know, how about Asgard and Valheim but post-winter and Midgard post-winter, sorry, not Valheim, Midgard post-winter, and the 2 other realms you couldn't visit in the 2018 God of War. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm thinking is, and this is this other narrative against God of War being spun like, oh my god, you have to visit the same realms again. It's like, well, go figure. This is Norse mythology. This is set within the 9 realms of the Norse mythos, right? If you're within those 9 realms, you're not going to go to, I don't know, an entire different mythos, are you? You're going to revisit Midgard. The key is it looks different because it's set in a different part of the time. It's post winter. What do you call it? The Everwinter, or like the permanent winter. And it, you know, it's clearly undergone drastic changes and improvements. So I'm excited to go back to Midgard and see it in a different light, you know. But also I'm excited to visit Asgard and the other realms that we couldn't visit in the first game. Mm-hmm. So I don't think these are valid criticisms to put against it. If I'm honest, like, it feels far more like a natural evolution to 2018.
Yeah, a true sequel. It's a true sequel.
Facts.
Like, I'm absolutely with you guys there. Like, I haven't obviously heard of any of the flag Ragnarok has gotten, because, again, Twitter has declared me enemy of the state. But now, hearing all of that, like, it's clearly just, fanboy bullshit, because, even though God of War Ragnarok is cross-gen, it's still, Sony Santa Monica was is still able to achieve something that impressive on a technical scale, you know, like the way we have, analyzed Kratos' model in that game. It's not going to be DLC. Like, that much is sure. It's just, the fanboy banter, we see literally with every single exclusive release, no matter what console. So, yeah, like, the only thing that mildly disappoints me about God of War Ragnarok is that Thor looks like a homeless trucker, but other than that, no, it's not going to be DLC. It's a direct sequel, and it will be awesome.
Who looks like a homeless trucker?
I'm only disappointed.
Sorry. No, again, God of War Ragnarok. Fuck. And when I first played God of War, I didn't really sleep, and I had work, the other day, and it was just that good. And basically, I slept for 2 hours, and then I started playing again. And I'm fucking excited for Ragnarok. I mean, come on, like, this is. Again, for me, it looks so much better. I don't care what any other people say. It looks so much better to me. And place looks so much better as well. It looks like it has so much added gameplay-wise, combat-wise. And it's going to end the story, of course. It's also very exciting. And what's also exciting is they say this is going to lead to them exploring another mythology. And I'm also fucking excited for that.
Did they really say that? Because the prophecy kind of showed that Kratos gets fucking
they basically Curry and Eric was in this interview, and they said, like, after this one, and the reason why they want to finish it here is because they want to explore other mythologies with God of War. That's what he said with God of War. He didn't say with Kratos or with Atreus, but he said with God of War. Yeah. And again, they mentioned 3 mythologies, which is Egyptian, Chinese, and Japanese. And bro, I'm done with any other mythologies that they do, especially Chinese, because I would really love to see Kratos and Wukong go at it. But yeah, again, I'm so excited for Ragnarok. I don't care what, I don't know what people's expectations are, but if maybe really they want to see that, full next gen God of War, then I don't know, then wait for the third.
Okay, guys, so get yourself ready. Tune in to the video, to the live stream, and watch this video in a second. I'm going to show you a 47-second clip of what I can imagine, and somebody made this, and it's a depiction of how Thor will be in God of War Ragnarok, and I'm all for it, because a lot of people are criticizing Thor for being fat like Thor in Endgame, but just watch this. I think you'll really appreciate it. I'm gonna turn the volume up. Oh, it's kind of glitching a little bit. Hold on. Okay, let's do it. He's flipping terrifying, bro. Just watch this. Shit's crazy.
It's not far-fetched. I mean, Thor is fucking brutal in Norse mythology. The Thor people know, most of the time is, fucking MCU, right? But Thor in Norse mythology is a fucking savage.
Yeah, check this out. Oh shit! And his hammer comes back. I tell you guys, fat Thor or no fat Thor, he is the best Thor. That is terrifying, and I can imagine. And he's not going to be short as well. A lot of people think he's going to be short because he looks short in the picture, but that's not relative to anything. You can't tell that he's short in the picture. He's just got a big belly. I imagine he's at least Kratos' height. Either way,
They said this rendition of him is clumsy.
Yeah,
but he's strong. Baby. Yeah, he's strong. He's ruthless. He still lives up to the name of Thor. Thor as an Aesir god was one of the worst. I don't even know how. I guess people are just so caught up with the MCU's rendition of him being a Bay, but
it's not even the MCU, because even some RPGs or some JRPGs, when you have summons, you summon Thor, it's the same depiction of the blonde, muscular, the stud or whatnot. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's a great point by Compost in the chat. You're going to be upgrading that hammer second half of the great game. Imagine wielding Mjolnir as Kratos. That would just be
cool.
Next level, dude. But,
it's gonna really put Kratos on a higher level, because if they go off of only Thor, nobody else is strong enough to wield the hammer, only Thor, and then we get the scene where Kratos says, "Nah, fuck that shit," and then he grabs the hammer and he smashes it in his face or some shit like that. That's just gonna be funny as well.
Y'all better stop with the theory crafting, because I swear to God, if Kratos picks up Mjolnir, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. I swear to God,
bro.
I swear to God.
They're gonna have to do it, bro. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Matter of fact, listen, I was gonna say that at the end of the podcast, but that's going to be my next space. Is going to be about God of War Ragnarok theories or whatever. It's not going to be Monday, though.
But I also think Kratos is going to die. I've got that gut feeling.
Mine is Death Stranding. I don't know, tomorrow.
Yeah. So guys, God of War is going to be nuts. Let's face it. People can cap all they want and criticize it all they want. It looks mind-blowing. The first game looked mind-blowing. Nothing's come close to it, and it's just going to be an incredible game. And as long as they've improved in the key areas that the first game was criticized for, i.e. enemy and boss variety, then everything else is a bonus. And it's going to be incredible. So I'm hyped. AF for this game. So
Yeah.
the last topic, or I think it's the last topic. Let me double check. Well, we can briefly touch on Battlefield, but whatever. The last the last topic is Xbox acquisitions. Now, before we go into this, there's a new article that recently came out. I posted it in the DMs of on Twitter, and I'm gonna show you guys something for a second. There is a there it is. There is a article highlighting that the movie the boss of Sony movies department believes that there is a lot more purchases to come.
Acquisitions regarding PlayStation.
Acquisitions to come regarding PlayStation. And so this news about Xbox making more acquisitions isn't going to be a shock to the industry, because with COVID, a lot of smaller businesses or studios and even publishers are opting to be bought to avoid, I don't know, liquidation, to avoid shit like that. It's kind of a part and parcel of the beast, really, the nature of the beast. And how Sony admitted themselves in 2020, they said themselves that they would aggressively be investing in its first-party game studios during its current fiscal year ending in March 2022. So Sony are also on this, right? They're after purchases. The difference is strategy, because Sony, like with Firesprite, their strategy is purchasing devs and studios that they've got a rapport, history, and successful business relationship with already established firmly. Now, with Xbox,
that they can feel that they can grow and nurture as well.
Yeah, exactly. With Xbox, it seems to me, and I put this tweet out, it seems to me that whenever Sony blow people's minds with games, or whenever PlayStation blows people's minds with games, Xbox is like, shit, daddy, do something. And Microsoft, daddy Microsoft is there with his wallet going, right, okay, let's blow people's minds, not with games, but with another acquisition. Now, I don't want to criticize acquiring studios or anything like that, and it's probably a publisher knowing Microsoft that they've acquired, not just one studio. But have they gone about this the right way? Because we're still waiting for even a single fruit of their acquisitions from three years ago. It's like they're building up this infrastructure to an insane overkill degree before they've even got the mind share. And the mind share is needed from customers because, and games bring about mind share. We saw the other day, The Last of Us beat freaking GTA in a standoff of which game is the best, and it won 51%. And you might call that petty. Same with Kratos, God of War against Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, it's 70 to 30%. Now that might sound petty to some people because it's a poll with like only a few tens of thousands of people voting, but it does show something. These games have mindshare. These games have a status, and that's why people are buying a PS5 right now. And I want to say, do you guys think that this is Microsoft throwing all their eggs into a basket before they've even cracked one open and cooked an omelette? Like, what do you guys think about it?
Dude, I'm just.
Can you repeat that, Willie?
Sorry, yeah.
What was the question?
I feel like sorry, I'll be a bit more clear. Sony Xbox is kind of, what are you laughing at, Aguirre?
Who you shushing?
Who you
shushing, Kira?
Sorry, no, I was taking care of. I got two small puppies as well,
sorry,
right?
brother.
Aside from the others, and I'm just.
Bless you, bro. No worries, brother. No worries.
I'm kind of controlling them right now. They're fighting.
Carry on, brother. No,
it's all good. Sorry.
The question is, Xbox is rumored to have made another acquisition, whether it's a studio or a publisher. Do you think they're so busy kind of investing in their ecosystem, they forgot to bring the games. We've not seen anything from Hellblade when they purchased that studio for Hellblade. We've seen nothing, from all these other, from Bethesda. We've seen a CGI trailer for one game, and that's it. Well, maybe two if you include Elder Scrolls. What do you think Microsoft's strategy should be? Continue to buy and purchase, or?
I don't know what their ultimate goal. I mean, well, I would imagine it's more of the quantity purposes, right? Of having just a sheer volume amount of quantity to get people into the ecosystem and subscribe to Game Pass, whether it's on mobile or anything like that. But as far as these rumors, I don't be believing none of this shit these people say, because every time it always comes up, like as far as like, well, they're acquiring this person, or they're about to acquire that, or an acquisition announcement is coming very soon. It almost never happens. Like nobody, like the whole Bethesda thing, nobody was talking about that Microsoft was buying Bethesda and there was an acquisition coming very soon and anything like that. We just woke up one morning and it just happened. We just woke up and stuff like that. And then since then, we were repeatedly heard Microsoft is buying this, or rumor they're buying Sega, or rumor they're talking to Take-Two, so that means they can buy Take-Two and stuff like that. And all of this stuff started off of a Reddit post of somebody theorizing that Microsoft had made another purchase or something like that. I forgot. I gotta go to one of the. I think it's one of the group chats I'm in with you, Akira, the PlayStation one, the PlayStation group chat. Somebody shared something where that whole what there's recent acquisition rumor started from, and there was just somebody on Reddit just saying some, theorizing on some shit like that. So, but as far as their strategy, I mean, listen, it doesn't matter. Like, they can buy everything that they need to buy, but if they don't really have the talent or they don't know how to manage it, and it's hard enough trying to manage 23 studios, and they're going to add even more on top of that, and then try to manage everything, and then, the resources get spread out thin or whatever. It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know the way Sony does it. They do a lot. Obviously, they manage their teams a lot better, but, I don't know, man. Like, I believe we are going to get in the time where, right now, you don't really see a lot of games coming from these studios at Xbox or whatever, but we're gonna get it. I think in maybe in another year or two, right? We're gonna get to the point where Xbox is getting games on a consistent basis, right, from these studios. I mean, they have to, right?
Happen. It's gonna happen. If they don't, it's just gonna be a massive L. Like,
it's just whether or not these games are gonna be. Right, great or not, yeah.
I feel like, the kids are starving, waiting for their omelette, and, like I said, Microsoft are too busy catching chickens and they're not even hatching eggs yet. They're just catching chickens all the time. I'm waiting for the eggs, bro. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah. And the thing is, Sony, right? They have not slowed down. Like, there's no long period of waiting 2 years or whatever. Like, they haven't slowed down. Like, just look at last year, all the bangers that came out last year on the PS4, and they launched the PS5 with bangers, and then we got a couple bangers this year from Sony or whatever, right? And then next year is completely stacked, and then the year after that, we know we're getting Spider-Man 2, and then whatever is unannounced or whatever. So Sony is not slowing down, but for some reason, Xbox, for the past 2 to 3 years, right, we're still in this waiting game.
Sony's pipeline is simply better because they've simply had a lot more time to plan and move things out, right? They've, like, most developers and most industry people will tell you, Sony's approach to saving and pushing and incubating not just studios, but incubating the games for the Prime launch is there. The only thing, like, a lot of these games would have hit had it not been for this damn pandemic. But, like, a lot of these games are better because of the pandemic too. So, like, so it actually works itself out. Their pipeline is they've been better planners, right? And they've managed to do less. They've managed to do more with less studios, and it's all about strategic planning and knowing your team. So, like, I've been seeing a lot of Xbox fans on the on the TL talking about, oh, Sony's been running their studios into the ground, and I'm like, um, Insomniac is about to put out 5 PlayStation 5 games before the whole fucking before the PlayStation 5 turns even 5. Like, what has Microsoft put out besides that? You know,
Yeah,
like
for real.
no other in the course of 10 years, Insomniac has put out damn near close to 20 games.
Yeah, they're super. Like they're on something. It, you know,
Right?
it's just
And
crazy.
in the span of 10 in the span of 20 in the span of 10 years, PlayStation has put out more than 46 first party games, both big and small. So like you think about that and you look at their insane ability to plan and prepare and foresee and launch something. Um, yeah, man, they're far more prepared than Microsoft was ever.
Yeah,
And they weren't just betting on one thing for one massive franchise to carry them. And it's kind of a shame, really, because they were the ones who announced the Series X, and they announced the Series X a whole year before PlayStation even announced their stuff, you know. Um, and they announced so it's crazy.
yeah.
You actually made me think of something, Desi. It's like it's crazy when you think about it, right? It took a pandemic, right, to slow Sony down. Because if
Yeah.
it wasn't for the pandemic, this year we would have had, I mean, granted, they wouldn't got the games still get delayed even without the pandemic. But I'm just saying, if it
True.
wasn't for the pandemic, this year we could have got Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, and God of War Ragnarok, because it was slated for this year. And this is one of the reasons why they're cross-gen, because it still was in the first year, right?
Right.
And then also that next year probably would have been Spider-Man 2 and shit like that. So it's like it took the pandemic. Like that.
Listen,
how great they're out
you even stop and think about it. You'd have had Ratchet, you'd have had Ratchet, you'd have had you'd have had all of the stuff that we've had already, plus the 3 that you mentioned, plus Death Stranding Director's Cut, plus Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, plus
integrate.
I feel like
like,
Xbox are kind of only now preparing for the generation that's next after this one, instead of having been prepared for this one. It's like
really that's what they were telling us. They were doing
catch-up.
all of last generation. There's like, well, Xbox, they pretty much given up on this and they're preparing for the next generation. And we get into the next generation.
They weren't preparing, they had just given up. And it took, I don't know, it's some bullshit, bro. What were you gonna say, Kara?
No, again, the acquisition talk, it's really getting old. Like, it's not really interesting anymore, because a lot of these people want acquisitions not because of games, which is crazy. That it's more for a petty reason.
Yeah, they wanted to say that, oh, we have all of these, but like you could have all that many, but if they're not doing anything right now to satiate the hunger, what's the point?
But you know what's crazy about this?
One second. The thing is that, they want to take away games from PlayStation. Like, that's like one of the most pettiest reasons that they got for acquisitions. That's why they want Square Enix, Capcom, or Sega so bad, because they're such a big part of PlayStation. Which I don't know where they got the idea that Japanese publishers are that easy to buy, because Microsoft is full of money, but that's not really how government law works. But I mean,
exactly.
This is like the thing. I kept on explaining. This is a fucking business. All right, you make deals based on what benefits you, and if I don't see a benefit within these companies, within two companies, I cannot see it happen. For example, Sega Sega only started to have a good relationship with Microsoft maybe, like, I don't know, last year. It's like they got most of their games from RGG. Basically the Yakuza games, Judgment, and that's basically it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe some Sonic games in there. they still got no persona. Maybe, I don't know, TGS might change that. We'll see. But what I'm saying is they are trying to build something, but it's just starting. And I don't think it's enough for trust. Versus, like I said, the PlayStation been building the trust for 4 generations now, basically. And I kept repeating that. And they're like, no, Microsoft can bulldoze that with all money. Yeah, but the problem is a company is supposed to profit, not bleed money. If you're gonna keep bleeding money, what's gonna happen is basically last generation Microsoft ended up closing 8 studios. I don't know if you guys remember, but last generation Microsoft closed 8 fucking studios, and the reason for that is because they're bleeding money. That's one of the main reasons they fucking downsized it. And because of those studios being part of Microsoft, they need to downsize them. They closed them down.
And instead of asking for acquisitions, because all I'm seeing is people like these kind of small time YouTubers or Twitterers. They all seem to be going Microsoft next buy please, Warner Brothers, not realizing it doesn't give them the IPs.
I mean they want Batman because we got
but they're not
Wolverine inspired.
But they're not fucking asking for games, and this is my point.
Exactly.
And you know what's crazy, bro? What's so ironic is that they're asking for exclusives, and yet they also re-echo or regurgitate the business jargon that they've been almost, I don't know, conditioned to parrot, to Game Pass being on every platform. And it's like, wait, you can't want Game Pass on every platform like Phil wants, because he wants it on PlayStation, he wants it on Nintendo. You can't have it on every platform if you want exclusives. Those two don't add up. So I think even they don't realize that what they want is not what Xbox actually wants. That is what they want is what we get, what we've got. That's what they want, and that's what Xbox fans want.
No. You see, again, I agree. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. Say your point because I'm gonna probably try and tie my thing up with you.
Okay.
Both of you said.
Yeah, so this is what I'm gonna do. Basically, I'm really done with these people with all the acquisition talk. I'm really gonna, let's say, stay away from it until Microsoft gives some actual news to it. Maybe will be the time I'll talk about. But I'm really done with all the speculations, all the rumors, all the fucking teases, all these bullshit. They're just annoying because I would, for the past, few weeks I've only been talking about games. And one more thing, maybe the most that I talked about when it comes to business was Arata, the new head of Japan and Asia Relations Division. I talked about why he's such an important person to hire, especially if it's Sony. You see, just to give you a quick brief preview, Kiichiro Arata is CEO of USA Europe, basically Capcom USA Europe, and his main job was he's one of the main reasons why there are so many Japanese games that came to the West. Some of those are PlayStation exclusives, some of those are even Xbox exclusives. The reasons why Xbox has Japanese exclusives was because of this guy. It was him. And I really thought, to be honest, if he was there for the taking, it would have been Microsoft to get him. They really wanted to hit Japan. But the crazy part is it was Sony, despite of having already such a strong foothold, having multiple timed exclusives, strong third-party support in Japan. Now they're taking the main guy who's basically bringing all the Japanese games to the West, and now he's also going to bring Asian games to the West. He's there, and they hire him, and that's one of the biggest power moves I've seen, again, aside from KOTOR Remake. And again, that's like the only time I talk business. It's when I see it happen. I'm not going to talk business if it's fucking speculated numbers, speculated rumors, and I am so annoyed about it because it's such a vicious circle. It doesn't end. So that's why I'm going to stay away from it. It's so annoying. If Xbox people talk about games at least, maybe I'll join a conversation. It's like I have a feeling I'm more excited about Hellblade 2 than these motherfuckers. Like it's fucking crazy. Like I talk more Hellblade than a lot of people that I've seen
Yeah,
on the
I love
Xbox
that game,
and
man.
I really
I
fucking
love that
find it
game.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead, DZ. Sorry.
Uh, yeah, to tie it all into everything, the acquisition talk is only heating up, and it's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing for as long as uh, Microsoft continues to make these massive power moves and whatnot. And their power moves, we can't deny that and whatnot. But like to there's more to just there's more to acquisitions than just buying up things for content creation. There is acquisitions to strengthen your development backbone. Like people see Sony buying Nixus and be like, okay, what has Nixus done? Like it isn't even so much the games that Nixus has released, but it is the technology that they've put into like Nixus is one of those crazy, crazy talented development teams that no matter the quality of the game or however you experienced it, however the main experiences of the ports that they've done, they have been technically damn impressive stuff, right? You cannot tell me that Marvel's what is it Marvel's Avengers on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X don't run flawlessly. Like they run amazing. So like regardless of if you like the games or not, those games are flawless ports. They're well done technical stuff, and they exploit each and every feature of every of those machines that they've launched at quite well. So like, there is strategy to having a strong backbone to influence future technologies and stuff. So like, while people could look at Microsoft and say, oh, they're shoring up their game development, Sony's shoring up not just their game development, but they're shoring up their back end, their technological backbones and stuff, and that's important too. And so these acquisitions that are happening, people are getting caught up in the wrong kinds of arguments. Like to go right back to what you gotta acquisition the talent, but you also gotta acquisition the technology too. And that's the good thing about what Sony's doing. It's not, they're not just going about and buying up every freaking studio because they want to evangelize their platform as the Xbox thing or the PlayStation thing. They're trying to make sure that whatever it is that they could that they're doing serves a purpose to delivering the best PlayStation experience, and not just to compete against Microsoft's buying up. They're not doing reactionary buys, and so
I
like
love that. It's not a freaking auction battle.
right. And so to tie this thing up with to what you said, Wooly, Xbox fans, especially the bots, the diehards, they just want acquisitions because they think the acquisition suddenly puts them on a playing field and it keeps games off of PlayStation. They get upset that PlayStation can money hat, money hat, because Microsoft is supposed to be the only one that's supposed to do that because they have more money and whatnot. So you'll never see Sony go out of their way to try and overtly compete with Microsoft in massive spending. In the very same way, like during the
they
PlayStation
probably laughed
3,
their freaking heads off at 7.5 billion after they acquired Insomniac for 300k and thought that's hilarious. Like, it's just
exactly right. It's a funny thing.
Bless them.
That's a very funny thing, right? Oh, Sony bought Insomniac for pennies. Microsoft went out and bought Bethesda for this, and what has the Bethesda acquisition done for Microsoft right now? They just released Deathloop. They're about to release, what's the other one? Ghostwire Tokyo. You know, and when you compare those kind of things, to the type of pipeline and the talent behind the studio, then you see things falling into a bigger picture. Insomniac has delivered more within the span of 4 years, or 3 years, because they got, Spider-Man came out in 2018. They got acquired in 2019, and within the span of that, they've more than
Spider-Man
delivered.
Remaster, Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man
Yeah.
2, Wolverine. Holy shit!
Right. Yeah. So like you have to understand that you just got to understand like this is literally just this is not necessarily the arms race that they thought it would be, and quite frankly, you have to be more strategic. The content
In
delivery.
chess, not checkers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why in that PS5 showcase they show that long intro movie where they're playing chess or whatever, and then
Yeah.
right after that they showed nice little Old Republic being a remake, for PS5 and shit like that.
It's like,
Yeah,
that's what
that's the ultimate slap in the face.
and they're doing so like they're doing things. They don't need to buy. They don't need to go out and buy studio after studio after studio to diversify their platform and deliver on the experiences that that gamers want. So like it's much the very same way it's Sony's very coy answer to how they handled things during the PlayStation 3 era after they got humbled for launching on an expensive product, right? Microsoft was money hatting games, and Sony said, okay, we can't really compete with that right now because we've dealt, we've dropped the ball with PlayStation with the heavy price and our humility thing. So what are we going to do? We're going to start to invest in our studios, and what that paid its dividends. So like the same thing is happening now. Microsoft is going right back to spending its biggest capital, which is its money. And they should do that because they have to shore up and prepare themselves. But like while this is happening, the investment Sony has made within its first party has started to pay off, and they're just firing on all cylinders. And while all this is going on, they're also not just offsetting, but they're also being able to match and bear fruit with investments within other third-party studios, like Housemarque before they purchased them, and
Just
Firewall.
one sec. One more thing, by the way, sorry, Daisy, that I wanted to point out that I prefer Sony's approach about, especially this gen, is Firesprite is actually a testament of me believing that they disbanded Sony Japan Studio to do the exact same thing like they did with Sony Liverpool. So basically what I was trying to say is that instead of closing the studios completely, just like how Microsoft did in their last 8 studios last gen, they basically gave them a new home, to breathe new life into it, is like how I saw it. And it's kind of like Sony Japan Studio and Sony Liverpool, and it seems like they're in a great place. Like Firesprite and fucking Team Asobi, right? They're all talented developers. And DZ, before you continue, I just want to ask, just really so curious about this. When they say dark narrative, it's not really horror based, right? It's more really dark narrative is what Firesprite is going for.
Firesprite is going for something very, very mature, very, very adult, the themes but
not horror.
It's not horror. The themes that the themes, it's very, when they say dark, they mean very heavy subject matter.
Go ahead, sorry. Go ahead.
It's very heavy subject matter. Things that you wouldn't normally see video games tackle narrative-wise.
I love it already. There it is.
You'd more read about these kind of things in books and stories. They're really tackling some heavy stuff. And
I asked this because
the team of writers they have. No. The team of writers they have going in there. I won't name the names or anything, but the team of writers that they have going in there, from what I saw, they were able to deliver from the whatever. All I can say is, like I said, guys, this is it. This
No,
yeah.
I like the sound of the idea because what I really hate, because I love dark narratives, right? But what I really hate is the oversaturated idea that dark narratives always need to be horror. Because most of our dark narratives are horror, and I'm kind of like fed up with that because you can also write a dark narrative that isn't horror.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is why that's a breath of fresh air that they're doing a not horror path. Go ahead.
You've got Firesprite, you've got Haven, you've got Firewalk, we've got some.
Oh yeah,
insane,
Haven.
You've got Deviation.
Haven is Haven.
So, guys,
sorry,
but break this
Haven
down.
is-
Deviation, Firewalk, Firesprite, Haven. These are all
Haven
studios
is,
that we didn't first like kind of know about or hear about, and all of a sudden these names
also,
are popping up out of nowhere, and Sony is doing shit with them, and it's crazy.
Also, pay attention to. I know it's not Sony right now who's like, let's say, representing them, but pay attention to No Man's Studio. I'm pretty sure Sony might will wanna I don't know, work with them. Especially the head is like the ex-head of Sony Visual Arts.
Yeah, Nomad. Yeah, I heard about them.
No Moon, yeah, the No Moon one, yeah. Because he was a very talented guy. The head of the Sony, visual arts department, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically, because of him being talented, he attracted a lot of also very talented people to join his studio, and it grew really fast. So I'm pretty sure Sony would want to do something with that studio because they know their own talent. They're aware of that shit. And even again, people are underestimating Jade Raymond. They're completely underestimating this talented person, Jade Raymond. By the way, Wooly, Jade Raymond was one of the main reasons why Ubisoft was had so many.
Yeah, she was
amazing games.
I've been saying this for ages. Jade Raymond is an absolute she's a Hideo Kojima. She's a who else?
No, she's not. You ain't gonna go that far.
No. But I'm.
You gonna praise her that much?
No, I'm saying she's a visionary and she's pushed the medium forward. She's incredibly talented, and Ubisoft pretty much was the kid riding on her shoulders, thinking they could fly, and she was the one that was holding them up. The moment she went to EA,
Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs, and a couple of the other breakthrough franchises that have now ran their course. They've literally been ran into the ground and aren't as innovative as they are before.
Splinter Cell Blacklist, the ultimate John Wick simulator, that game, it really is. There is no game that comes close in terms of, not even Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain has the fluidity and being able to choreograph loads of different insane moves together like Splinter Cell Blacklist. It's phenomenal, incredible.
He also worked on Metal Gear Solid 4 as well.
Wow, well there you go. She's amazing. So with her at Haven is a big deal, and Sony have got their hands on her. I don't imagine them ever letting her go. Once she's done what she's doing with them, they're gonna want her to work for them permanently. Come work.
You're talking about after their first game.
Buy the studio or whatever. Let her have complete reins of her creative vision, like they did with Hideo Kojima and Death Stranding. Let's roll with it. But guys, it's been a hell of a show. One last quick question before we go to close this out. DZ, does 3 weeks make a difference in game development?
It depends on the studio that you're with.
DICE.
You could do a whole lot in a thing if you have the right you could do a whole lot if you have the right feedback and the right thing. So cool. I know Fire Slug has done a lot in 3 weeks.
Well, there you go.
And we've managed to turn quite a few things out in a matter of a week of showing off our very first demo. So if you get the right feedback and you put your ego aside, you could do a lot. You could make a whole lot of difference within a week if you have the ego aside and you're not afraid to kill your child, as we say. Mm-hmm. You can't be too married to one specific idea, if the feedback you're getting is going to help fix you, and you listen to it, you can go back and suddenly you could solve problems that were taking you forever to solve because you understand what needs to be done. So yeah.
Why I asked the question is because we know Battlefield has been delayed for 3 weeks, and it's like you had these fake insiders saying it's going to be delayed till 2022, but I don't know, like 3 weeks is crazy to November the 19th. What's that for? What's the deal with that?
I mean, you could make it's just more time to add stuff. I mean, come on, 3 weeks is just 3 weeks. We had Returnal got pushed back by an entire month. That's just an extra week, and the literal extra time that they had being pushed back, it was literally 3 weeks before going gold. So like, those extra 3 weeks could make or break a game, or could, and whatnot. So it's like, yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. And besides, even if EA is never going to delay something that big out of the freaking holiday season when they already know that they want to do it. So like, they gonna push this bitch out regardless.
And there these salty fanboys thought that Halo Infinite was gonna catch a break. Well, sorry to deliver the bad news. It ain't.
Nah, this is EA. They're a mega conglomerate of money hungry investors and everything. They're gonna push that one out. Battlefield is going to have the selling power. It's one of the only other shooters that could compete with Call of Duty. They've built that, right? So even if the beta came out and it's a buggy fucking mess, it's still going to do numbers. People still going to buy it. People still are going to have fun. So like, there's a lot that can be done.
We got a crew up on that, guys. If ever you folks are interested in a bit of co-op, either via PC or PlayStation 5, feel free to go to our public Discord, which is, I will put it in the link right here for you guys. Here we go. Create invite, copy. It's in the chat right now. Feel free to put your ID, PSN or whatever, and if you ever want us to all team up sometime, let's get a bit of a community going where people kind of get together and enjoy gaming, because that's what this is all about. But guys, it has been an insane show, and I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone on the panel who showed up, including Salty, who briefly came, and DZ for you eventually making it to us. We're grateful. Chris for supporting. Thank you so much, Chris Righteous. Will, as always, brother, whenever you speak, it's like music, bro. When you spoke about Death Stranding, it was just lovely to hear your passion, and for such a young lad, you're gonna go places. I have no doubt that you're gonna get a career in gaming, because you've got that knowledge and that passion. Akira, as always, you bring the knowledge, you bring the passion. You also have a great thing going with Spaces. You've been blowing up. You've been having devs, and you've been having flipping Paris and freaking influencers and shit on your Spaces. Sometimes you had 500 people. Shit was crazy, bro. You've been going crazy, but just remember one thing, remember to eat and remember to sleep. That's all I'll say. And no, but well done. And guys, what an awesome show. Thank you to everybody. We'll go to the outros quick time.
That was awesome. Thanks, guys.
How late is it? Who's latest over there? I'm currently 11 p.m. So what time is it for you?
11 p.m. It's 11 p.m. here in Scotland.
So come on, DZ, hit us with it. Where can we find you, my guy?
You can find me at Mr. or Sir.S _DZ or Mr. DZ on Twitter, which is why am I giving y'all my Instagram? I'm sorry. No, you can find me at EXP Sev Davis. on Twitter. I'm there. I'm always in the mix. I tweet. A lot of dev insight comes out from myself. Commentary on video games in general, and just some of the things that I'm playing, which right now happens to be Scarlet Nexus, Tales of Arise, and I'm currently tiptoeing through Ikishima right now with Ghost thing. But like, yeah, you can find me on there.
Great. Mr. Akira, my dude, where can we find you?
Yeah, basically just on Twitter. At is basically Akira 092421, the release date of Lost Judgment. Because like I said, I'm very excited for that game. Almost there. I think I'll be able to play tomorrow because I bought the digital deluxe edition. It's like a 3-day earlier,
Nice.
3-day earlier play, and I think I'm early downloaded later.
Awesome time.
But yeah, that's where I am.
Are you playing on
Twitter.
PlayStation 5 or are you playing it on PS4?
I will start on the Pro, but yeah, I'll definitely switch to PS5 when the rest.
When you get it.
Definitely.
Bro, excited for you, hyped for you. Mr.
Thank you.
Mr. Wilhelmovski, my brother, where can we find you, dude? Well, you're not on Twitter anymore, are you?
Yeah. Essentially, I have nothing to promote except, I don't know, Salty, if you need another man for your podcast, I'd be down.
Oh, 100% we'll get you on. I'll be nagging him to
Salty's great.
Get you on. Yeah.
Salty's podcast is great.
I'll vouch for you, my dude, because yeah, it's great. You're great. You're great to have on.
Thank you.
Chris, my brother, where can we find you, my dude?
You follow me on Twitter at Chris Righteous. I'll be doing spaces and stuff like that. Mainly talk about games and stuff like that. You also catch me on Kid Smooth podcast every Wednesday. On Planet Xbox. I'm the lonesome PlayStation guy there who always gotta fight him every week.
Yeah.
Every single week I gotta fight against him.
Planet on his shoulders.
You gotta include me there.
Yeah. But
I'm trying to play it.
Yeah. But smooth. To be honest with, because I don't own an Xbox at all. So some people would be like, well, why are you on a Xbox only podcast? It's like, because Smooth, he wanted a different perspective rather than just having, like your typical Xbox podcast, which everybody is just unison and just one opinion. Everybody's praising
like this podcast right now. I mean, look at it; it's disgusting. We need some bleed greeners, 100%.
Yeah, exactly, right. Or like in the Saltiest Gaming podcast, right? But yeah, y'all can catch me on there. Also, Saltiest Gaming podcast as well. I'm a member on there as well every Thursday at 8:30. I always have to say Eastern Central Time because for some reason everybody just lives on the East Coast, but I actually live on Central, so it's usually like 7:30 for me or something like that. But yeah, other than that, man, Tales of Arise, loving it. Really, really, really enjoying it, loving it so far. I'm still playing through Hades and shit like that, but yeah, I'm excited for Kenna and Lost Judgment, and yeah, let's go, man. Let's keep the gaming.
Awesome, my dudes. Well, thank you for an incredible episode 9. Grateful to all of you. It's great, successful first time back, and the minor little technical issues with like me forgetting to unmute my mic, etc., will not be present in the next one, as I'm finally, I'm getting back to grips with everything. But thank you so much to everyone in the chat. You have all been awesome tonight. 38 likes, bloody hell, that's good. That's a good ratio. So yeah, stay awesome, guys, and yeah, keep gaming, and we will catch you next week.
Peace out.
Yeah.
Peace.